Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a foundation declutter, and I also am going to be talking about all of the foundations that I have tried out over the past 4 years since I've started to get back into makeup again, and letting you know how they have worked out on my own mature and dry and sensitive skin. And so there are well over 100 foundations to discuss, and then I also will talk about primers and about setting sprays. And these are all products that are fairly clean in terms of being compared to other products that are on the market. So they don't include any synthetic fragrance, they don't include any parabens, they don't include any chemical sunscreens, and they don't include a lot of the other ingredients that I react to and that many other people have problems with as well. And then in addition, I wanted to mention that I have started a new Facebook group, and the goal of the group is for people to be able to get together in a comfortable and relaxed environment and to talk about all kinds of issues that might be related to looking more attractive or looking more healthy as we get a little bit older. And so this could include both makeup and skincare, of course, but also things like diet and hair and clothing and exercise and things like that as well, if people are interested. And so what I have named the group, at least for the time being, is 40 Plus Beauty with Lisa Petrison. And so if you want to join me at that group, then that would be great, and I'm hoping to see you there. And I will be moderating the group myself, and so I will be really involved, and so I am hoping that we can have some really good discussions there. Now, in terms of this declutter, this is actually the first declutter that I have done in terms of going through everything that I own and getting rid of a bunch of stuff since I started getting back into makeup 4 years ago. And in general, I tend to like to keep the products that I purchased so that I can go back and play with them again and see how they're holding up, and also to compare them to other products. But in the case of foundations, these do not last forever, and in addition, some of them, quite a few of them, actually do irritate my skin, and so there's not really a lot of purpose in terms of me keeping those around after I have reviewed them and after I do have a good sense of them. And so what I thought that I would do is just to go through all of the foundations that I have and to talk about them a little bit on camera and to decide if I want to keep them or if I'm done with them and I want to send them along. And what I do with the makeup products that I'm not needing anymore is that I send them to my friend Ellen, who I have known since high school, and she also has fairly sensitive skin, and so she's about my age, and so I think that it's useful for me to send along products or product samples to her to see how she does with products, to see if I can get a little bit more of a broad valuation of the products rather than just what I am thinking of them. And so she has skin that was not quite as dry as mine when she was younger, and she has some pore issues, and she tends to wear foundation every day, and she is kind of picky with regard to foundations. And she did tell me recently that she purchased a bottle of House Labs foundation in the very lightest shade, because then that allowed her to be able to use more of the foundations and foundation samples that I was sending to her. And so when I found that out, I thought, okay, I will just go through all the foundations that I have, and if I don't need things, then I'll just send them along so that at least she can get some use out of them if she likes them. And so in this video, I'm going to be focusing just on liquid foundations and also on primers and on setting sprays. And then when it comes to other products like cream foundations or powder foundations or concealers, things like that, we will have to do that another time. So first, a little bit of information about me. I am 60 years old, and I have dry and very sensitive skin, and I've never had any kind of cosmetic procedures like injections or surgery, and I'm not really intending to do that. And so my goal with makeup is to hopefully look a little bit fresher and a little bit younger, but also to not look very made up, and also to not spend very much time on my makeup. So I really want to only spend 5 or 10 minutes a day, and so I'm looking for products that are performing really, really well and that I don't need to fuss around with a lot. And I do have a zero tolerance policy with regard to being willing to use products that irritate my skin. And so I am very, very picky about that. And that is why a lot of the foundations that I am trying out end up not working for me because they do tend to be just a little bit irritating. But I have found quite a few that have worked really well for me, and that has been really helpful in terms of being able to make sure that my skin is looking fairly nice, but also not being irritated at all. And I have found that there are certain ingredients that always do irritate my sensitive skin, and I know that these are ingredients that tend to be quite irritating for many other people as well, and so I just don't talk about products that contain those ingredients on this channel. And so for this video, I am going to be deciding what I'm going to be doing with each of the products that I talk about. So the choices are that I'll either put it aside to be using, I will put it aside to go into my makeup library. There are quite a few foundations that I haven't actually tried out and discussed on camera. And so when that is the case, then I think I need to put those in a special place so that I make sure that I do review those fairly soon. And then some of the products I'm going to be sending along to my friend Ellen, and a few of the products I think I'm going to have to just get rid of. And then for each of these products, I have given them grades. And so an A+ product is one that I really enjoy using and that I do intend to continue to use in the future just for my own personal use. And an A is a product that I would be willing to use, but that I don't really think it's as good as some of the other products that are on the market, and so that I don't see myself using as often. And then products that get a B are ones that I don't personally like for myself and that I don't see myself using in the future. And typically, I do think that with foundations especially, there's an awfully lot of individual variance, and that in a lot of cases, people have very different preferences with regard to foundations or different things that their skin reacts to. And so I tend not to give a grade that's lower than a B, especially with foundations, because I think that most of these are ones that I think other people might like, depending on what their needs and wants are. And then when products have irritated my skin, then I just have noted that on the grade sheets. So let's first start talking about skin tints. And so the first category is skin tints that include either a minimal amount of silicone in them or that don't include any silicone at all. And the reason that I tend to divide up in my mind of foundations that include silicone versus the ones that don't include silicone is because I do feel like if I use a foundation that has silicone in it on a regular basis, that that is not really great for my skin. And I think that the reason is not that I am reacting to the silicones themselves, but because the silicones tend to put a tight barrier on my skin and to trap things like oil and dirt and dead skin cells and maybe some microbial stuff. And that tends not to be very good for my skin. And so while I do use silicone foundations on occasion, I tend to, on an everyday basis, be more likely to use ones that don't have very much silicone in them. And so the first product that I'll talk about is the Hourglass Veil, and this is called Hydrating Skin Tint, and I have this in the color 6. And I talked about this particular foundation very recently in a video that I did on the new Jones Road product, which is called Just Enough. And so I compared it to this foundation from Hourglass in the video, and I think that the two foundations are fairly similar to one another in terms of how they perform on my skin and how they looked on my skin. And I have been really, really happy with this Hourglass product. It was released, I think, 2 years ago, and I was really impressed with it at the time. I think it performs a lot more like a typical foundation and less like a really casual skin tint. And I think that my skin does really, really like this product, and that it has been moisturizing, and that it does look good on my skin without exacerbating the look of my wrinkles. And so those are all really important to me when it comes to evaluating a product. And so the ingredients in this one include some coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, meadow foam seed oil, squalane, shea butter extract, and sodium hyaluronate. And so those are all ingredients that my skin does do really well with usually. And this product is made in Italy, and it is $49. And so that is a fairly expensive price for a skin tint. But I do think that this one has performed really well for me, and I do really enjoy wearing this one. And so I will be keeping this one, and I will put it in the pile of foundations that I do plan to use on a regular basis, just for my own personal use. And then the next product is from Jane Iredale, and this is called the Hydro Pure Tinted Serum. and it is $58, and I have this in the shade Light 2. And so this is a foundation that has little pigment balls in a clear serum, and so what you need to do with this one is to pump it out on the back of your hand and then to mix it up with a foundation brush or something like that, and then to apply it to your skin after it has been mixed up. And my feeling about this foundation is that it really has very little pigment in it. So I do think that it does a very nice job in terms of improving the texture of my skin. And so I think that that can be important. I think that it makes my skin look a little bit more hydrated, and it also makes it look a little bit more even. And so I do think that it looks nice if I just wear it on its own, but most of the time I really am just using this as a primer. And I do think that this is a really excellent primer to wear under other kinds of makeup. And so if I have a foundation, like for instance the Jones Road What the foundation, that I have a hard time wearing because it has ingredients in it that are irritating for my skin, in that case it has a lot of natural fragrance ingredients in it, then I think that of all of the products that I can use that can provide a little barrier on my skin that will protect it from those foundations, that this one does a really good job. And I also think that it does a very good job if I'm just want to wear, for instance, blush and not have the blush kind of get eaten up by my face. I think that this product does a very good job for that. And it really doesn't look like I'm wearing any makeup at all because it's really providing very little coverage. But I do think that as primers go, I think that this one has been really outstanding for me, and that my skin does really, really like the way that it feels, and that I do think that my skin looks better when I am wearing this and more youthful. And so the ingredients that are in this are glycerin, agar, hyaluronic acid, squalane, shea butter, willow bark extract. It does have some alcohol in it, but that is the 5th ingredient, and I haven't found that to be problematic in terms of it being annoying for my skin, and it is made in the USA. And so I feel like this is a really good product, and I definitely want to continue to use this, but I do think that it's really not giving very much coverage at all. So if that is the goal, then this is not a good product for that. And certainly I think the Hourglass product is giving considerably more coverage than this one. And then the next product is the new Jones Road Just Enough tinted moisturizer, and this was just released to the marketplace, and I have this in the shade Porcelain, and I do really like this product very much. I was super impressed with it. I really have a hard time finding any faults with it, and I do think that unlike the other foundation that Jones Road has on the market, that this one is really easy to use. I do think that almost anyone could use this product, even if they don't have dry skin, or even if they're not getting older and need blurring benefits. But I do think that this looks really pretty on my skin. It does give me some of the plumpness and the hydration that the Jones Road What the foundation gives me, but I think that this one is just really easy to use. You can just throw it on really fast, and it doesn't have any of the problems that are associated with that other foundation. It's not sticky, it feels good on my skin, I don't need to use any powder with it, and it looks really natural, and it's not exacerbating the look of my wrinkles at all. So I've been really happy with it all around, and I think that every one that I have heard talk about this product have been very, very approving of it. So I think that this was a real accomplishment for them to release a product that is this good. And in terms of some of the ingredients in it, it does include some glycerin and some sodium hyaluronate, and there is a small amount of silicone in this one, but it looks like it's very far down on the ingredient list. And so I am giving this one an A+, and I will be keeping this one. And then the next product is the Rose Incorporated Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum, and I have this in the shade 30. And this, I think, is a fairly similar product to the Jane Iredale product that I just talked about. So again, this has a clear base and it has some little pigment balls in it. And in this case, the pigment balls are much smaller, but the whole idea of this foundation is the same, that you pump it out onto the back of your hand. You're supposed to mix it together with a brush, and then you apply it to your face that way. And my feeling about this one is that it does have a considerably larger amount of pigment in it than the Jane Iredale one, and so therefore it gives a little bit more coverage. But I still like the way that this looks on my face. I do think that it gives a very fresh and kind of natural look, even though there is a little bit more coverage in it, and it hasn't been irritating for my skin at all. And of the products that are on the market, I do think that this is a really, really good one. And it is $49. And the ingredients in this one include glycerin, squalane, sunflower seed oil, and then it has something that's called Jasminium Sambac leaf cell extract. So this product has been out for 3 or 4 years, I think, and I do still really like it compared to many of the other foundations that are on the market, and I have continued to use it. And I have given some of this to Ellen, and Ellen's comment are, when I first tried this, I put it on over a silicone foundation and did not like it. Second time I tried it without primer but over a well-moisturized face and found it to be light but effective. I like heavier foundation, so I put on about 3 layers, a very small amount of product each time over my whole face. It has a decent blur effect on my wrinkles. So I would agree with Ellen that this is not a product that I would put on over a primer, and I think that this actually works better if you think of it as a primer like the Jane Iredale product. And I do think that it has a very different type of ingredient list than many other kinds of products that are on the market. And so you have to be a little bit careful about what you put it on over. But otherwise, I think that this is a really good product. And I do think it's interesting that she has been able to layer it and get a higher coverage from it. Because I do think that even though this has more pigment than the Jane Iredale product, that the coverage is quite light. Now, Rose Incorporated was sold a couple of years ago to an Asian company. And I don't really know what they're planning to do with it. They don't really seem to have done anything so far. They seem to be keeping most of the products that they were being sold before on the market. They're not in Sephora anymore, but I haven't seen them come out with any new products, and I'm not sure how they are doing. But I do really like this foundation, so I am hoping that that whole company does not go bankrupt and go off the market, because this foundation in particular is quite nice. And a while back I did do a video on skin tints that don't have silicones in them, and so the Rose Incorporated foundation is demonstrated in that video. And I do have all of the foundations that I've done videos on a playlist, and so you might be able to pretty easily find these foundations by looking at that playlist. And then another product that is fairly similar to both that Jane Iredale product and also the Rose Incorporated product is this one from Chanel. And so this one is called Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch, and it is $70, but it is a fairly small bottle, so it is 0.7 ounces. So this is one of 2 products from Chanel that have this same sort of a formula. And so the first one is one that I would like to try, but unfortunately has synthetic fragrance in it. And when I have tried Chanel products in the past that have had synthetic fragrance in them, they have made my skin itch, so I have given up on that. But that one is called the Water Fresh Tint, I think. And then this one is a product that has more pigment in it. So if we compare this to the Rose Incorporated one, this is giving a lot more coverage to the skin. And so when I get this product on my face, I think it actually looks really, really good. And it does look hydrated, and I don't think that it exacerbates the look of my wrinkles, and it does give me a bit more coverage than the Rose Incorporated one, or certainly more than the Jane Iredale one, without my having to put down more than one layer. And so all of those things are really good, and I don't think that it has exacerbated the look of my wrinkles at all. And the shade that I have in this one is BD21, and I did once get shade matched for a Chanel foundation, and that is the shade that they came up with for me, even though it is supposed to be a light medium. And I have been really satisfied with how it looks on my skin in terms of it being a really good match for my skin as well. So there are many really good things about this one. I will say that when I pump it onto the back of my hand and then I try to mix it around with the brush, I do feel like there's a lot of like little pieces of stuff in there, you know, clear material that seems like I need to actually put it on my skin and then like kind of brush my skin off because some of those little like pieces of stuff kind of stick to my skin and they don't really blend in. They're kind of goopy. And so that is a little bit annoying. And another thing about this one is that the problem with this is that I feel like I do need to use a brush with it. And so they give you this little brush, which is quite nice, but I feel like I have to wash this brush every time I use this foundation to mix it up. And that's also the case with the Rose Incorporated one and with the Jane Iredale one too, but I don't feel like I need to do it quite as much with those. And I feel like I can kind of get away with actually just putting that on the back of my hand and kind of stirring it around and then putting it on my skin and then brushing it into my skin. Whereas this one, I really do feel like there's such pigment in there that I really need to really get in there and mix it up with this brush and then wash the brush after I use it. And so that's a little bit annoying as well. And then the third thing about this one is that I did feel like when I put it directly onto my bare skin, it was very slightly irritating. I didn't notice that happening when I first purchased this, but after about 9 months or so, or maybe a year went by, I started to feel like it was a little bit irritating. And I feel like it's fine now if I put it on over a base product like the Ilia Base Face Milk, but it does seem to be something that seems to maybe have the potential of being slightly irritating as well. So whenever I do put this on, I feel like it looks so nice that I really need to use it more often, but I haven't actually been real motivated to use it because I tend to have other products that I also like. But maybe I should put it aside and leave it out for a while and try using it on a regular basis because I do really, really like the way my skin looks in this foundation, really more than almost anything. And I have tried this one out during the video that I did on Chanel. So the ingredients in the Chanel foundation are fairly similar to both the Jane Iredale and the Rose Incorporated ingredients, including glycerin and sodium hyaluronate and some jasmine stem extract. And all three of these do have a small amount of a substance called amodimethicone in them. So that is a form of a silicone, but I don't feel like this feels like a silicone foundation to me at all. And the Chanel foundation is made in France, and they did just come out with 10 new shades. So in the past, this particular foundation had a fairly limited shade range, but now they have offered a number of new shades. So there is one that is particularly fair with rosy undertones, and there are several with olive undertones and a few that are very deep. And so if in the past you have thought about buying this line or you have purchased it and you haven't been able to get a good shade for you, then this would be a good time to go back and look because it does look like there should be a lot more shades to allow people to get a really good match. And then the next product is from a skincare company that is called Evan Healy. So they tend to sell at places like natural grocers or other kinds of natural food type places. And I do think that Evan Healy uses really good quality ingredients, but unfortunately an awfully lot of their products do have things like essential oils in them that do end up irritating my skin. So if that weren't the case, and if I wasn't so sensitive to those kinds of ingredients, then I think that I would probably use Evan Healy products a lot because they do have really, really high quality ingredients, I think. So I decided to pick up this foundation from them, and this is called the Evan Healy Tinted Oil Serum for $32. And last I checked, this was still available on their website, and I had this in shade 25. And I did not feel like this was very flattering for my skin at all. I don't think that it irritated my skin, but I don't think that it did my skin any favors, particularly in terms of making my wrinkles look worse. And some of the ingredients that are in this included jojoba oil, broccoli seed oil, rosacanina oil, and argan oil. And it only has a 6-month usage life, and when I just got this out right now, it has totally separated. And so this has not been a product that I have ever used very much, and now it can't be used at all. And probably I should just go ahead and throw this away. I probably don't see myself talking about it on this channel anymore. And then the next product is from Westman Atelier, and this is called the Vital Skincare Complexion Drops, and it is $68. And so this was introduced, I think, maybe 2 years ago or so, and so I did pick this up. And one thing that I will say about it, Westman Atelier, is that in both this complexion drops and also in their foundation stick, I don't feel like they really have a very good shade match for me. I thought that I was just really confused, but now that I've been able to actually try the Westman Atelier products in the store, I have found that I just don't think they have a good match for me. And so that is a little bit frustrating. I think that it would be nice if they had more shades that are available. And this one is Atelier 2, and so I would have been able to make it work for me, but I haven't ever really liked this product very much at all. I do think that it tends to be a product that really exacerbates the look of my wrinkles quite a lot, and so that has been very frustrating. And when I was looking at some of the videos from Westman Atelier, actually I felt like the foundation was exacerbating the look of some of the older models or people that Gucci Westman was making up in the video footage too. And so I don't think that the product is good in terms of that. And I also don't feel like my skin likes this one that much. And so it does have some good ingredients in it. It has Tsubaki oil in it, which is a high quality ingredient. And then there's some other things that I feel okay about putting on my skin, including squalane and avocado oil and pomegranate oil and sunflower oil and sweet almond oil. And I think all of those things are fine, but it is very heavy in terms of the oils. And so if you are not someone who has really dry skin, then you probably won't like this one because it is so oil heavy. But it's also the case that it has some oils in it that I don't feel as good about, including soybean oil and cottonseed oil and wheat germ oil and cornseed oil. And for me, the cottonseed oil I think is particularly problematic because to my understanding, cottonseed oil that is used in makeup and skincare, it's not organic cottonseed oil, and most of it does come from the U.S. And so cottonseed oil, it tends to be very, very highly contaminated with various pesticides and glyphosate in particular. And so that is not something that my skin likes at all, from what I have found. And I think some people would also react to that wheat germ oil. And so in general, I think that I can put this on my skin, but I think if I wore it on my skin every day, my skin would not be in very good shape either. Now, one thing that I do know about this product is that Gucci Westman was determined to have a foundation that didn't have any silicones in it because she doesn't want any silicones in any of her products, and that the Italian formulators that she used, they kind of grumbled, and then finally they came back with this one, and I think it was a nice try, a good college try, but I think that they could do better, and that there are actually some good foundations on the market that are not using silicones now that Westman Atelier could do well to be trying to catch up to. Now, I did give Ellen a sample of this at one point, and I don't think she was real crazy about it either, from what I recall. And in addition, it has a 12-month usage life on it, but I have heard that this one tends to go bad after a while. And so I think I will just keep it in my collection in order to demonstrate the bottle on camera, maybe when I talk about Westman Atelier products in the future, but I don't intend to use it, so we'll put this in the makeup library. And then the next product is from Huda Beauty, and this is called the Glow Wish Skin Tint, and it was $37, and I believe I did talk about that in the video that I did on skin tints without silicones in them. And it includes glycerin and squalane, and it does have a little bit of silicone in it, but not in the first 6 ingredients. And this one did irritate my skin, and I think that the reason for that is because it includes rose flower oil in it, and my skin does not really like that very much, even though I do really like the smell of roses. And so therefore this is a product that I am not going to be using again, and I don't think that I need to keep this, and so I'm going to send it along to Ellen because I think that she does a lot better with things like rose oil and rose geranium oil than I do, so maybe she can get some use out of it. And then the next product is from Ritual Defee, and this is called the 3-Drop Serum Foundation, and it is $42. And so actually I bought the lab sample for this one, and this was called the Luminous Elixir 3-Drop Foundation. And so I did give this a try, and I actually really liked it quite a bit. And so I did use up some of this bottle, and I did enjoy it. And then when the final version came out, I picked that up again and I tried this out. And this one, it irritated the heck out of my skin, and my skin became really bright red. And so in the video that I did, you can actually see how much of an impact this had on my skin. And the more that I used it, the more sensitized my skin got to this, until it was just really quite a mess. And it took me a while to recover from that. And so I'm not sure why it was that my skin reacted so strongly to this. My suspicion is that this includes an ingredient that is called Blakeslea Trispora Mycelium Extract / C30-45 olefin. And this is a product that is a derivative of mold. And so my guess at the time was that the reason that my skin was reacting so much is because it does tend to be very sensitive to mold in general, and my body does tend to be hyperreactive to mold in general, because at one point I did have pretty serious mold illness. Now recently though, I tried a product from Versed, or actually 3 products, their bronzer and their blush and their highlighter sticks. And those products had an ingredient in it that was very similar, and that was just called Blakeslea Trispora Mycelium Extract. And my skin seemed to do fine with those sticks. So I'm a little bit perplexed at why I reacted so much to this Ritual Defee product. Almost all of the ingredients were the same as were in this lab sample, and I did not react to the lab sample at all. So it's all very peculiar, but I really don't want to try this one out again. I think that it was quite a bad experience for my skin with regard to this one. And it does have some good ingredients in it: jojoba oil, marula oil, coconut derivative, and some tapioca starch, which was probably okay. And so it would have been nice if I could have made it work for me. I thought that it looked kind of nice on my skin. I think that it had the look of one of those foundations that's kind of oil-based and kind of casual, and you just kind of throw it on, and it looks like just a little bit of something extra for your skin. I thought this was very nice, and it was one that you could build up a little bit more than some of those, and a lot of people did seem to really like it. So I would have enjoyed using it if it had not made me so irritated. And I think that it is time to just pass this one on, and we will see whether Ellen reacts to it or not. And then the next one is from Summer Fridays, and this is called the Sheer Skin Tint, and it is $40. And some of the ingredients in this includes glycerin, sodium hyaluronate, niacinamide, avocado oil, safflower oil. And then it does have soybean oil in it. Maybe that's not a great ingredient for me, and hydrogenated vegetable oil. So it's possible that those might have been contaminated with pesticides, conceivably. In any case, I do feel like my skin was irritated by this particular product, and so that was kind of unfortunate. It was fairly mild irritation, but I don't think that I need to be wearing that kind of a product. And in terms of how it looked on my skin, I don't think that it was necessarily bad in terms of exacerbating the look of my wrinkles, but I am not so sure that it really improved the texture that much, and I don't think that it gives any coverage at all. This was almost as light coverage as that Jane Iredale foundation, to my recollection. And so I don't think I need to be hanging onto this one anymore. I don't know if the product is still any good, but I think that I will just go ahead and send this one along. And then a new product that I am just trying out now is called the Milk Hydro Grip Skin Tint, and it is $36. And so I have just tried it out a couple of times so far, including at the Sephora store. And I haven't actually bought a bottle of that, but I am going to try it out on camera and see if I need or want to buy a full bottle. And if we look at the ingredient list, and some of the ingredients in this that I would find to be probably likely to be good things for me include glycerin. There's some fermented ingredients in here. There are olive oil and coconut oil derivatives and squalane and niacinamide and sodium hyaluronate and hemp seed oil, shea butter, sunflower oil, and allantoin. And I do feel like when I used it at Sephora, I haven't felt like my skin was irritated, and I thought that it looked okay. Maybe not great, but I really want to see it on camera before I make a decision. And I think that in general, it could be a good product for some people, but I'm not sure if I like it nearly as much as some of the other skin tints that I have going to rely on. And now let's talk about skin tints that are based on silicones. So they have silicones that are in at least the first 6 ingredients. And so the first one is from Chantecaille, and this is called Just Skin Tinted Moisturizer SPF 15 for $70. And the amount of the product that you get in this is 1.2 ounces. And I actually felt like the Jones Road Just Enough foundation reminded me really strongly of this product from Chantecaille, and so I did compare the two of those products in the video that I recently did on Jones Road. Now, it's interesting that this particular product has an SPF on it. It's a low SPF, it's 15, and what I'm guessing is that it really is not all that much different than many other foundations that are on the market in terms of the amount of SPF it has in it. This one doesn't have any zinc in it. It only has titanium dioxide in it. And so for this particular tinted moisturizer, they actually reformulated it last year. And I think that the reason for that was because they wanted to remove the cyclic silicones from it. I didn't actually try the previous version, but I think that this one has been really, really terrific. And it hasn't irritated my skin at all. And it is one that I've been happy to wear and that I do think looks good on me, and that I think it makes my skin look somewhat better, and that it does not exacerbate the look of my wrinkles, and it does give some good hydration to my skin. And most of the ingredients that are in this, in addition to the silicone type ingredients, they're more botanical ingredients, so I feel like some of these are supposed to be doing the same things as the ingredients that other companies are using, and that they are providing some hydration and some skincare benefits, and so that is kind of positive. I do see an algae on the ingredient list, which is called elkhorn sea moss, and that is one thing that concerns me a little bit, because I feel like algae can be contaminated with things from the sea that might be problematic for me, including cyanobacteria toxin. But in this case, at least for this batch, this has been perfectly fine for me. Now, in terms of the SPF, SPF 15 is a fairly low SPF, and I actually am not necessarily convinced that other foundations on the market do not have an SPF 15, or that they don't have something that's close to an SPF 15, even if they are not labeled as having that. So I think it's more that product companies need to do the testing and to spend extra money in order to get an SPF on their label, rather than this one being really special in terms of it having that SPF in it. And I bring this up because this one really doesn't feel to me like a sunscreen. It feels really easy to use, and I don't think it really feels any different than many other foundations that are on the market, including, for instance, that Jones Road foundation. And in addition, some of the shades that are darker, they actually don't have any SPF in them at all. So even though I did put this on the page with the other sun protective foundations that I put together, in this case, I thought that I would include it on this tinted moisturizer page too, just because I do think it performs really, really well, and because I think it could be a viable choice for many people if they can afford it, even if you're not really looking for sun protection. And this is one of my favorite foundations for casual wear, and so I will be keeping this one. And this Chantecaille product is made in Japan, and I have the shade Bliss, and I think that that one might be a little bit more golden and maybe a little bit deeper than would be ideal for my skin, but I think that it also looks fine. It's sheer enough that I think that it doesn't look bad on my skin at all when I do wear it. But if I buy it again, which I probably will do at some point, I might pick up the shade Alabaster. I think that that one might be a slightly better match for me. And then next I have the skin tint from Dolce & Gabbana, and this one was released last year. And it is called the Blueberry Nutra Tint, and it is $52. And it has several different kinds of dimethicone in it, and it also has talc, which is pretty high up the ingredient list. And I haven't encountered a lot of foundations with talc in it, and I do feel like this one feels a little bit more almost chalky on my skin, but I think that it goes on really nicely and that it hasn't been a problem for me. And I don't see talc as being a real problem in terms of having a bit of it in foundation like this. I think that the main issue that is of concern with talc is whether or not it has asbestos in it and whether or not you breathe in the asbestos in a powder product. And in a product like this, I don't see that to be an ingredient that is particularly concerning to me, although other people might conceivably be more concerned. And I would say that this one is more just a skin tint without a lot of extra ingredients in it. So it's not something that is like a tinted moisturizer that is moisturizing my skin. I feel like it's just putting a layer of light coverage on my skin and making my skin texture look a little bit better. And so these are products that I tend not to reach for very much in terms of using it just for my own personal use. And the reason for that is because I'm a little bit uncertain that I really want to be using silicones very often. And so therefore, when I do use silicones, I tend to be using it more with a higher coverage foundation, and then more for everyday use, I tend to use things that don't have the silicone in them. But I do think that this is a pretty good product. I think it has performed really nicely for me. It does look good on my skin. It hasn't caused any irritation. And in general, I think that this is a really pleasant product and that a lot of people would be interested in using this one. And this is made in Italy, and the shade that I have is 05 and Light. And I think that this has been a good shade match for me. Now, one thing that I will note about Dolce & Gabbana is that if you buy from their website, they don't take back any products in terms of returns, regardless of whether or not it's just to exchange it for a different foundation shade. So I don't think it's a good idea to buy from that website, especially with regard to foundations. And so I think that it's a better idea to pick it up from somewhere like Nordstrom or Macy's. And then a product that I think performs surprisingly similarly to the Dolce & Gabbana product is this one from Kylie Cosmetics. And this is just called Kylie Skin Tint Blurring Elixir. And this one is only $32, and so it is quite a bit less expensive. But I do believe it's from the same factory, probably, as the Dolce & Gabbana one. So it comes in a container that is fairly similar, and they're both marked as being from Italy. And I feel like, in terms of how they feel on my skin, I think that they do feel quite similar. And I do like both of these products quite a bit, and if I were more of a person that was interested in wearing a silicone skin tint, then I think that both of these would be really, really good. And in terms of the Kylie one, this one has some sodium hyaluronate in it, and in general, I think that this one actually feels quite nice on my skin, and I think that it is quite a good deal. And you can try it out at Ulta, and I think that it may be worth doing that if you are interested in this one. And the shade that I have in this one is 2W, and I did have a chance to spend some time in the store and to try on a bunch of different shades. And so I do feel pretty confident that this is a really good match for my skin compared to the other options that they have. So I'm going to put this back in the makeup library, and I do think that I will be talking about both of these brands again in the future, and so I can bring these out and talk about those then. And then the next product is from Danessa Myricks, and this is called the Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint, and it is $36, and it is made in China. And the ingredients in this that I think may be positive for my skin include squalane, sodium hyaluronate, ceramide, and some coconut oil derivatives. And so this is more of a tinted moisturizer rather than just a skin tint. So it is providing both coverage as well as some skincare benefits. And I feel like I have done fairly well with this product. I had expected to probably not be able to tolerate it, but I do think it's been okay for me, especially if I put it on over a primer. But in general, I don't think that it has been irritating to at least an appreciable degree. It does have some propylene glycol in it, and I wonder if propylene glycol is okay for me or not. Sometimes I think that it might not be okay, but in general, I think that this has been an okay product. So I did try this one out in the recent Jones Road video that I did, so I was comparing that to the Jones Road Just Enough and the Chantecaille Just Skin and the Hourglass Skin Tint, and I don't feel like when I looked at the video footage that I like this one nearly as much as those other three, and I also think that in real life I have been a lot less drawn to wear this one than I have those other three. But I don't think it's a bad product. I think it is a little bit more glowy than the other products, and that is okay. And I feel like after I put some powder down on top of this one that it did look okay on me. But in general, I have concluded that even though this is a pretty good product, I do like those others more. But I will be keeping this one for reference, and so this one will go back in the makeup library. And then the next one is from Glossier, and this is called the Perfecting Skin Tint, and it is $26. And this is a product that has been on the market for quite a while, and I think that this is a product that seems like it has been especially well suited to people who are getting older. And so I know that for quite a long time on the Glossier website, there was a very well-liked review that was from someone who was in her 60s or 70s, and she said that she had had really, really good success with this. And when I've read a lot of the other reviews, a lot of people that are getting older actually did really like this product as well. And so this is a product that has a cyclic silicone in it, which is called cyclopentasiloxane, and I have not found this to be irritating at all. I think that the issue with cyclic silicones is that some people think that they are problematic for the environment, and I am not necessarily convinced that they are more problematic for the environment than other kinds of silicones, or certainly more than the plastics that are used in a lot of makeup products. But to my understanding, it's very difficult or impossible now to sell products with cyclic silicones in Europe. And so Glossier is a brand that is mostly focused on the US, I think, still, and so I think that's why they haven't changed the formula for this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they change it at some point. And this one does not really include any kind of moisturizing ingredients in it. It's really just a skin tint, and so it's really putting a finish on the skin without necessarily offering any skincare benefits. And so I do see alcohol and corn oil on the ingredient list, and so that could be of concern for some people, but I have not found this to be irritating for me at all. And Ellen's comments about this particular foundation, she says, "This is a light, moist feeling product. It smells good, feels good, and looks good. Wish I had tried it long ago." So if you're really just looking for a product to give some really light coverage and to improve the finish of your skin and to work well even if you have wrinkles or other kinds of texture issues on your skin, I think that this one could be one to consider, and it certainly is not very expensive, so that is a real positive thing. Now, they have come out with new packaging. I don't think that they changed the formula at all. I think they did come out with a new shade range. And so the shade that I have is G9, but I think that the shade range is totally different now. And it looks to me like this has become oxidized, and so I think that if I am going to use this again, I would need to buy a new bottle of it, but maybe I will just keep this one anyway until I buy that new bottle. And then the next product is from Lisa Eldridge, and this is called the Seamless Skin Tint, and it is $49. And this was released last year, and it comes in a plastic bottle like most of these other skin tints, and it is from a small factory in France. And a lot of people really, really like this skin tint. It seems to be sort of halfway between a tinted moisturizer and a skin tint, so it does have some skincare ingredients in it, but it doesn't seem to be as moisturizing for my skin as, for instance, the Jones Road Just Enough or the Chantecaille product, but it does have some positive ingredients in it in terms of moisturizers, including some coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, prickly pear oil, which is an ingredient that my skin does usually really like, and castor oil and sunflower oil and squalane. Now, one ingredient that is in this is salicylic acid, and I think that that may be why my skin seems to be very slightly objecting to this particular product. So salicylic acid is an ingredient that is supposed to help people, for instance, with acne. And I think that my skin is not real crazy about that particular ingredient, and so that could be one of the issues for me. And it's not that I'm not able to wear this particular product, but I don't think that my skin would like it a whole lot if I wore it on a regular basis. And in addition, I think that some of these other products actually look better on my skin, but I may be just being a little bit more picky because my skin doesn't really like it that much. But I do think that for people who are younger than I am and who do have acne type issues, that some of those people do think that this particular skin tint is helping them a lot. And that it is actually a product that is making their skin quality better in addition to providing some light coverage. And then the next product is from MAC, and this is the Studio Radiance Face and Body for $39. And I have only tried this one on at the MAC counter, so I had them put it on my face, and I had half of my face have the foundation put directly on my bare skin, and then half of it was put on over a primer. And I don't think that on either side that there was any irritation. I think that my face was okay with it. And I was happy about that because this does include a couple of essential oils in it. So it includes orange oil and Fusanis bacatus wood oil. And even though those could be irritating for some people, I feel like that was okay for me and I didn't have any problems with it. And this does include dimethicone and a number of other silicones in it. And it includes a few other ingredients that I might consider to be problematic, but I think that my skin has reacted fine to it. Now, what I will say about this foundation is that it sticks very, very tenaciously to my skin. And even though I was using oil-based makeup removers, I feel like I had a very, very difficult time getting it off. And this seems to be totally on purpose, that it is this waterproof and that it stays that firmly on your skin, and that is why they are suggesting that you could be using this on your body as well as your face. And so if that is what you're looking for, then I think that this could be a great product. For me, I really don't like products that I can't get off my skin because I do think that that has a bad effect on my skin quality. So I haven't actually purchased this product for that reason, but I do think if that's your goal, is to have a foundation that will really last for whatever reason, then I think that this MAC product could be a really good one. And I think in terms of how it looked on my skin, I think it was very similar to how some of these other skin tints look, in terms of it providing some light coverage and a prettier finish to my skin without exacerbating my wrinkles. And then the next product is called the Sigma Skin Perfecting Hydrating Tint, and it is $39. And this is from a company that is known primarily for their brushes, I think, and then they also have some makeup products. And this was released last year, and in terms of the ingredient list, it does have quite a few ingredients in it that are supposed to be hydrating. So it has niacinamide, sodium hyaluronate, squalane, a tripeptide 5, and panthenol. And it has dimethicone and a variety of other silicones in it. And I think this was not a bad product. I kind of liked using it. I do think that maybe more than some of these other skin tints, that this one exacerbated the look of my wrinkles a little tiny bit. So when I compared it directly to, for instance, the Kylie product or the Dolce & Gabbana product, I do think this one may not have looked as good in the context of the wrinkles on my face, but I don't think it was terrible, and I think that if I were looking to wear a product that did have some silicones in it, that this one could be a good one. And then the next skin tint is from Fenty, and this is called the Fenty Eavesdrop Skin Tint, and it is $36, and it's been out for 2 or 3 years, I guess. and my dog managed to get a hold of this one, and so he kind of chewed it up a bit. And this one is available, like other Fenty products, in a whole lot of different shades, so that is definitely a positive thing. And it includes trehalose and sodium hyaluronate in it, so it does have some moisturizing benefits to it, or hydrating benefits. And it has dimethicone, several different kinds, and then this one does include some talc in it. And my feeling with this one is, first of all, it does stick very, very tenaciously to my skin, and probably just as tenaciously as that MAC Face and Body product, and so that is a real disincentive for me to wear this. And then in addition, I don't think this really looked all that great on my skin. I did a video on all of the Fenty foundations that have been released, and I don't think this one really looked all that great on me, and so that would be another reason for me not to be inclined to wear this one. And so I think that I have covered this one enough, and if people are interested in this foundation, they can look at that video, but I'm going to go ahead and send this one on to Ellen because I don't see myself wearing this one again, because I just get frustrated if I put something like this on my skin and then I can't get it off. And then the next product is another one from Chantecaille, and this one is the Future Skin Cushion, and it is $140, and it is made in Japan like the other products from Chantecaille. And like the other products from Chantecaille, this one does include a lot of botanical ingredients in it, and then it does include some algae. And my experience with this particular product is that even though I really, really like the way this performs, and even though I really like the way it looks on my skin, unfortunately, my skin did get very, very irritated by this. And I felt like this was something that was increasing the more that I was wearing the product. And there was one time that I was actually on my way to somewhere, and I was still thinking that it might work out, and then I ended up like turning around and coming back home and taking this foundation off because I felt like it was so irritating. And it seemed to me that it was irritating even when I put it over my top primers. And so therefore I just have given up on this entirely, unfortunately. And I'm not sure what it is about this foundation that has been so irritating for me. I am a little bit suspicious of this elkhorn sea moss that is in this, because I think that it could be contaminated with cyanobacteria toxin. And in the same way that I am reactive to mold, I think I could be reactive to that if it has a contamination in it, but I'm not really sure. And it's possible that if I got a totally different batch of this product that it might work for me, but I don't know about that either. So what I think that I am going to do is that very soon I think I'm going to do a video on Japanese foundations in general, because there's several of them that I have not reviewed. And so when I do that, I feel like I should talk about this product again. And then after that, I'm going to send it on to Ellen, because I think that if she is able to use this, she would probably really enjoy this foundation. And the shade that I have is Vanilla, and I think that that shade has been fine for me. There aren't as many shades in this as there are in some of the other Chantecaille products, because it is very, very light coverage. And so the way that this works is that it comes in this compact, and the compact has this picture of an elephant on the front of it, which makes me think that maybe they're giving some money to elephant conservation. And so then you open it this way, and it has this sponge thing in here. And then if you lift up this part, then it has this spongy thing here, which you press this sponge down on here, and then you can get some of the product on this little sponge, and then you can apply it to your face like that. And so after a while, this gets to be kind of gunky because you are using it on a regular basis. And they do give you a refill in here, and so you do at least get 2 refills for that very expensive price. And then there is a mirror in here that you can use to put it on. So I think it's a very elegant and sort of luxurious product, and I did really like the way it looks on my skin. I thought that it gave a very nice, very light coverage, but a nice texture to my skin, and so I would actually probably use this one if it weren't irritating for me. So that was very frustrating. And the next product is from Aveda, and this is called the Aveda Inner Light Tinted Moisturizer, and it is $40. And During the time that I was really not wearing any makeup, prior to 3 or 4 years ago, I went to Aveda to get my hair cut, and then I would kind of play with the makeup in the store. At the time, they did have a full line of makeup, and sometimes I would buy things from them. And so the one foundation that I was using at the time was this particular tinted moisturizer. And I think actually at the time this was probably one of the better products on the market for me. This was before the real revolution in beauty that occurred a few years ago. But I looked in my files and I found this extra tube that I hadn't actually opened. And so I tried it out now and it seems to be fine. And so what I think I would like to do is to just try it on and see how it works for me in comparison to all of the new products that I have been trying. And they are still selling this product. They seem to have removed all of their makeup except for this product. They are still selling this one. And I think that the reason is because in a lot of cases the Aveda stores will do bridal makeup. And this is a makeup that's a lot of people seem to like as bridal makeup because it doesn't have any SPF in it, and it seems to be a light coverage that really anybody can wear. And so I think that may be why it's still on the market. And I thought that it was okay for me when I used to wear it, but I don't know how it would compare to the other things that have been released since then. So I'd like to give that a try. It does include natural fragrance and linalool in it, and so I'm not sure if it will irritate my skin or not. So I will report back on that. And then I have the Beauty Blender Always On Skin Tint, and this one is $29. And I think I picked it up on a really good sale, and I had heard a few people say that they did like this one. And so I thought that I would like to give it a try just to see how it performed. And it includes several different kinds of silicone in it. It has benzyl alcohol in it, so I don't feel like my skin always likes that. But in any case, hopefully I can give this a try fairly soon and then report back. And then I have two different foundations from a company called Kogan Do. And this is a Japanese company, and the foundations are made in Japan, and they are quite expensive, and both of these do include cyclic silicones in them. And so the first one is a moisture foundation, and this one is $108, and it says that it has glycerin, jojoba oil, squalane, shea butter, prickly pear oil, aloe vera, and sodium hyaluronate in it, and then also willow bark extract. And this seems like a really, really small tube, so that's kind of extraordinary that it would be $108. I wonder if this might be a mini version. So I will be trying this one out soon, and then the other product from them, it looks like maybe it's more of a regular foundation, so maybe this should be in the regular foundations section, but this one includes couple different kinds of silicone, including a cyclic silicone, and then talc and alumina, and it is not supposed to have any like moisturizing ingredients that I am seeing in here. And so I will be interested in trying this one out. And I do think that Michelle Wong especially seemed to like either one or both of these foundations. I'm not sure which one she was most enthusiastic about. And so that made me think, well, I guess I should give these a try as well, just to see what the best of the best foundations are in her eyes. And in these cases, they don't have any fragrance in them, and they don't have any other ingredients in them that are problematic. And so unlike most really, really high-end foundations, I feel like I might be able to use these successfully. And then I have one more product that is also from Japan, and this is called the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation, and I think that it is priced at $75. And this one has also cyclic silicones in it and a variety of other silicones in it, and it does have some talc in it. And I'm not seeing any skincare ingredients in this, and I have tried this out a number of times, and I think it performs okay on my skin. It reminds me more of the just plain skin tints without the extra ingredients in it, and I haven't filmed it on camera yet, and so I think that I should go ahead and do that sometime soon and see how it's looking and try to really dive in and see what I really think of it. But I don't think it's been irritating for me, and I have done okay with it. And so now let's move on to foundations that have a bit more coverage to them, but that do not have silicones in them, or at least do not have substantial amounts of silicones. And so the first product that I want to bring up is actually not exactly supposed to be a foundation at all. This one is another product from Chanel, and this is called Sublimage Concealer Yeux, and it is $105. And this is a product that is designed to be an eye cream or an eye concealer, and so it comes in this pot, and it is one that you have this great big hole here, and so it is really designed to just be an under eye concealer, or maybe you can use a little bit of it on your face as well. And I have found that for that purpose it has been okay, but that if I make it into a foundation by mixing it with just a little bit of moisturizer, that this is actually one of my favorite foundations. And I feel like with this one I can either thin it down somewhat with a moisturizer and make it into more of a regular foundation, or I can thin it down even more and make it into even more of like a tinted moisturizer. And the moisturizer that I tend to use to mix with this is the one from the Outset, and this is called the Nourishing Squalane Daily Moisturizer. And I feel like when I do this that it looks really, really nice on my skin. And that is actually the reason that I have not used that Chanel foundation that much, because I do feel like the look that I get from mixing this particular eye cream with this moisturizer is very similar to the look that I get with that Chanel Water Fresh Complexion Touch product. So the Sublimage line from Chanel, this is their most expensive line, and the skincare products are really outrageous in terms of the price. And so in comparison, this particular eye cream is not all that expensive, and I have been using it for quite a while now, and I have yet to go through this whole jar because I tend to just use a tiny little bit of a dab of it, and if I do that, it's highly pigmented enough that I can cover my whole face with just a tiny little bit. And the main thing that I think is objectionable about this product is that it does come in this jar, and so you are supposed to use a little scoop to get each little serving out of it, and it tends to be kind of a mess. What I have been doing is taking a small amount of the product and putting it in a small little jar, and then just using a little bit of it with my fingers. And I think that that's a lot less messy and has been working much better for me. And I've had this for 2 or 3 years, and it seems to be holding up well, and I don't think it's oxidized too much, but at some point I think that I probably will buy another jar of this. And I have shade 10, and I think that this has been a good product in terms of both being an under eye cream for me if I want to use it that way, but also in terms of thinning it down and making it into a tinted moisturizer. And this is made in France, and the ingredients in this include some glycerin, coconut derivatives, sunflower oil, and then they put vanilla as a skincare ingredient, so they have vanilla fruit water in this. And so I'll definitely be keeping that one. And then the next product is from Patrick Ta, and this is called the Major Skin Foundation, and it is $58, and this one was just released last year toward the end of the year, and it includes a lot of skincare ingredients in it. So it has glycerin, squalane, shea butter, Saccharomyces ferment, allantoin, olive oil derivatives, coconut oil derivatives, sodium hyaluronate, and sunflower oil, and it's made in the US. And the shade that I have is number 7, which is described as a peachy neutral. And I did try a number of different shades in the store, and I do think this was a good match for me. And so my feeling about this foundation is that it seems to be particularly well suited for mature skin. And I think that the reason for that is because it doesn't exacerbate the look of my wrinkles, so I am happy about that. And it is giving some nice coverage, sort of light medium coverage, I think. But the main thing that I think it does is that it's one of these foundations that seems to provide a little bit of a plumping benefit to the skin, or not plumping, but sort of a cushiony benefit. And so it looks like I have a little bit more fat volume on my face, and therefore that my face is not gaunt. So that's one thing that happens when you get, especially toward your 50s and older, is that the fat volume on the face does decrease a lot. and the face does start to look more gaunt. And so there are a few foundations that I have found that are able to provide a little bit of that softness to my face that makes me feel like I look quite a bit younger. Now, one thing to know about this foundation is that you really do need to use a setting spray with it, in my opinion. And I think it is very frustrating if I don't use a setting spray and then also some powder with it, because it really doesn't dry down, and it is one of those foundations that's kind of sticky, and that if you have longer hair, your hair will stick to it. And so I think that once I found a setting spray that I really liked and I started to use that with this product, then that made it work much, much better for me. And so the setting spray that I use today is the one from Makeup by Mario, and I really, really do like this one. And I think that the one from NARS is also very nice. And so those are products that I use with this, and then I did put some powder down on top of it. So in general, I would say that if I want to look really nice, that this is maybe my favorite foundation that I have at this point. It doesn't have any silicones in it. I do think it feels good on my skin. I haven't found it to be irritating. I think that the moisture has been particularly good for my skin over the winter months. I think I'll be less inclined to use something like this over the summer. But in general, I do think that this is a good foundation for people of a certain age, I think. And it does come in a glass bottle, and I do think that this is a very nice bottle if you want to just keep it at home. And so definitely I will be putting that foundation with the other ones that I am planning to keep using. And then next we have the Typology Tinted Serum, and this is $38, and it comes in a glass bottle with a dropper. And I have been using this for quite a while, and I did a video on Typology a while back, and so I demonstrated this particular foundation in that video. And I do like this a lot. I think that when I put it straight on my skin, it is not great with my wrinkles. I wouldn't say that it's terrible, but it does offer quite a lot of coverage. And my experience with this is that if I mix it with a little bit of moisturizer, maybe 2/3 this product and 1/3 the Outset moisturizer, that this has worked really well for me, and it does look really nice on my skin, and it provides a nice amount of slight coverage that I think does make my skin look really good. And I don't think that this has been irritating at all. And some of the ingredients in this include some squalane, vitamin C, aloe vera, and it is made in France. And so even though it is listed as a serum tint, I do think that this is much more like a foundation if you don't thin it down. Now, supposedly this only has a 6-month recommended usage life to it, and so I had a bottle of it and I used up quite a good chunk of the bottle, and then I decided that I wanted to compare the two shades, but I felt like maybe the shade that I already had oxidized a bit, and so therefore I decided to buy one of shade 1 and one of shade 2. And I think that shade 1 is quite a bit better for me, and so you can maybe see on my hand here. So this is shade 1 here, and this is shade 2, and I think shade 2 is probably too dark for me. And the other thing that I did find is that even though this particular product that I had been using before was maybe 2 or 3 years old, when I compare it to the new shade that I just purchased in shade 2, I do think they look pretty much exactly the same. And so that does suggest that it actually didn't oxidize that much, and so that is something that's good to know. And what Ellen said about this product was that it goes on smoothly, covers nicely, and I did not notice a smell. So I think what I will do with this is to send Ellen the bottle that is really too dark for me, and that way she can thin it down with her House Labs foundation and hopefully get some use out of it. And then the next product is from Euphoria, and this is called Date Night Skin Tint, and it is $48. And I did do a video on this product a while back, maybe 18 months or so ago, and I do really, really like this product quite a lot. And I feel like this is a product that is very, very good for my skin, and that does not irritate my skin at all, and that I can wear as often as I want. And I think that it's actually quite a lot like that Typology foundation, in that I think it's a little too highly pigmented for me, and that if I wear it just straight from the bottle, that it does exacerbate the look of my wrinkles a bit, but that if I mix it in with the bit of moisturizer and I use it that way, I think this is really an excellent product for me. And so I have really enjoyed using this one, and I hope it stays on the market. And this product has several different kinds of hyaluronic acid in it. It has some prickly pear extract in it and coffee extract. So hopefully the coffee extract may be making the skin less puffy, which could be a good thing. And this is made in Korea, and like that Typology foundation, this one supposedly has a usage life of 6 months. I have found that even though it's been well over 6 months, it's still okay for me. And this product is made in Korea. And then another product that I thought was kind of similar to both the Typology product and also that Youthfora product is this one from Glossier. And so this is called the Stretch Foundation. And this one is made in the US, and it has squalane and coconut derivatives and glycerin in it. And again, I feel like with this one, when I put it directly on my skin, that it did exacerbate the look of the texture and the wrinkles on my skin a bit, but then when I thinned it down with some moisturizer, that it worked much better. I don't think that this is as good for my skin as either the Typology one or the Youthfora one. I think that my skin can tolerate it, but I don't think it's the one that I would reach for as much. But it's not a bad product, and so I am not discouraging people from using it, and I would be willing to use it myself if that is what I had on hand. And this one I have in the shade Light 1, and I did try this on in the Sephora store, and I think that this was a relatively reasonable match. And I did do a video reviewing this one if you're interested in looking at that. And then next we have the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and this one is $54. And this was released, I think, 2 years ago or so. And this is one of the first products that NARS released after they really cleaned up their act and started to release products that were much, much better for my skin or for the skin of people who do have sensitive skin. And so this one is a product that does offer a considerable amount of coverage, and I do think it looks pretty good on my skin. I think I can use it right out of the bottle, or I can thin it down with a little bit of moisturizer, and I think that that works even better for me. This bottle is getting kind of old, so it's kind of leaking all over the place, and I do feel like this is darker than it was originally, so I would like to buy a new shade in this and just to have on hand. I don't think that the shade that I had was ever the right shade for me. This is Salzburg, but I have not really found in the stores a good shade for me as far as I can tell, or at least one that I feel like is ideal. And there is one shade that they sell only on their website, and I wonder if that shade might be better. So unless I can get a good match for me, I'm not all that motivated to buy a new bottle of this. But I think that it's kind of frustrating that this bottle has gone so bad, because it is a good foundation, and I would like to be able to at least demonstrate it from time to time. And I don't feel like this one is so moisturizing as some of the others, and so that is another reason why I don't like it quite as much as some of these other products in terms of how it looks on my skin and how it feels on my skin. It does include some glycerin in it, and cocoa extract, and vitamin C, and turmeric root extract. And then ingredients that I might be a little bit concerned about include alumina and barium sulfate, and then it has some algae in it, so that always makes me a little bit concerned too. But nonetheless, if I could find a good shade, then I would be interested in this. And they did introduce some new shades recently, but I'm not sure that any of those were perfect for me too, based on my experiments so far. And what Ellen said about this is that I put this on over primer, and I liked it a lot, goes on smoothly, covers well. So in general, I think that most people do really like this foundation, or at least they think that it works well enough for them to be able to use. And so I think I need to put some more effort into seeing if I can actually make any of the shades that are available work. And then next I have a new product that was released at the end of last year from One Size, and this is called Turn Up the Base Full Beat Foundation. And it is supposed to be a higher coverage foundation, and so I was really surprised at how much I liked this product. I feel like even when I used it straight from the bottle that it actually looked pretty good on my skin. I don't feel like it exacerbated the look of my wrinkles very much, and in general I think it felt good on my skin and it wasn't irritating at all. And so I think as full coverage foundations go, that one worked out really, really well, and I did demonstrate that in my foundation video at the end of last year, where I tried on all of the foundations that had been released during 2024, so you can look at that if you are interested in that. I don't feel like I tend to like higher coverage foundations. I don't feel like I need them or that they are necessary for me, and so I haven't bought a full bottle of that. But if I were going to buy a full coverage foundation and use it on a regular basis, then that would definitely be one that I would be really, really interested in. So I would highly recommend that one in terms of going to Sephora and trying it to people that do want that much coverage. And in terms of the moisturizing ingredients in it, I'm really just seeing some coconut oil derivatives, and then it also has some rice hull powder in it. But in general, I felt like it did not feel drying to my skin, even though it did offer all that coverage. And then next we have a few products from RMS. So the first one is the RMS Re-Evolve Liquid Foundation, and this is $48. And this one comes in a pump, and so the way that this works is that you can turn this and then the pump comes out. So I do really like this particular packaging, and it is refillable, so that is a good thing also. And I think that this is a nice foundation. It reminds me quite a bit of the NARS foundation, and I think that it doesn't really exacerbate the look of the texture on my face, but I do tend to mix it with a tinted moisturizer if I am going to use it. And I have shade 11 in this one, but I was recently trying out the shades at a Blue Mercury store, and I think I might be closer to being 0 in this line. So I would be interested in trying all of the RMS products in the proper shade in case I can get more use out of them. And this is made in Italy, and it has aloe vera in it and some olive oil derivatives, but I wouldn't say it's real moisturizing for the skin. But I don't feel like it's been irritating for my skin, and I have been able to use this one. And I did give some of this to Ellen, or maybe she tried it in a store, and I remember her telling me that she thought that it was a pretty good foundation as well. And then the other foundation from RMS, this is a cream foundation, and it goes back to the types of products that RMS offered when they were more offering all organic type products. And so this one has a variety of different kinds of oils in it, including jojoba oil, castor oil, meadow foam oil, beeswax, and coconut oil. And it's made in the US, and so it comes in a jar, and it is a quite thick foundation. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand this foundation, but it's very interesting to me because I think it works really, really well in terms of if you want a higher coverage foundation. And as I say, I do like that new one-size product, but other than that, if I was really looking for full coverage, I think that I would go to the trouble of using this particular foundation. Now, what I do think that you need to know about this foundation is that if you put it directly on your skin and you don't use it with a sponge and you try to use it with some other kind of method, it will kind of just sit on the surface of your skin and look like you're wearing a mask. And it may take hours to soak into your skin, and then after a number of hours it may start to look better. So for me, what I have found when I have used this is that I really do need to mix it on my hand and then use it with a damp sponge. And that if I do that, I can get quite a lot of coverage, and that it will sink into my skin much better because of the water from the sponge, and that it will look really natural and provide a lot of moisture to my face and last really, really well. So there is one person that I know who is a ballet dancer, and she has very sensitive skin, and she asked me to recommend something that she might be able to wear as stage makeup. And I did know from the reviews of this product that other people do use it as stage makeup, and so I suggested that she talk to the people from RMS about that, and so she did that, and she said that this has actually worked really, really well for her, and that it's held up really well even when she's dancing and in the hot lights. And so I think that there is something to be said for this particular product, and that if you want a lot of coverage and if you want a makeup that's, going to stay in place really well and be really, really good for your skin, because I do think these are very good, high quality, really clean ingredients, that this could be something that's really worth considering. And so I am glad that they are continuing to make it, but you do need to, first of all, know what you're doing with it, and it does take a little bit of effort to apply. And what Ellen said about it is that I like this product a lot. It goes on a little wet. I used it over the Beekman SPF primer. When it dries, it looks really good and kept looking good for hours. This product is supposed to go on better with the wet sponge, and I need to try that. Did okay with just fingers, though. And then she said later that now that I know how to use the Jones Road the foundation, this foundation seems much easier to use. It covers very well, better than the WTF. Now there's another cream foundation that I purchased a number of years ago, which is the 100% Pure Cream Foundation for $48. So this is a company that does use all organic type ingredients. And this one includes avocado oil, pomegranate oil, aloe vera, and rice germ powder. And unfortunately, I found with that one that it did really, really exacerbate the look of my wrinkles. And so therefore, I was not able to make that one work at all. And I sent it along to Ellen, and I don't think that she ended up getting much use out of it either, based on what she told me at the time. And then next we have the Exa High Fidelity Foundation, which is $38, and this is sold by Credo. This is owned by Credo. So this has a couple of ingredients in it that could be good for the skin, including aloe vera juice, coconut oil derivatives, and coffee seed extract. And it also has some grapefruit seed oil in it. That might be a preservative, I'm not sure. And my experience with this is that this is really not looking that great on my skin. I think this was one of the first foundations that was introduced that actually had a lot of different shades and had really kind of more natural ingredients that were not going to be irritating. And it doesn't have any scent in it as far as I can smell. And I think that it's just an early version of a lot of the foundations that are out there, and that since this one came out 2019, something like that, that foundations have just gotten a lot better. So I don't feel like it looked that great on my skin. I do feel like it exacerbated the texture of my skin. And unfortunately, I just haven't used it all that much. And the shade that I have in this is called Wit 500. And I do remember having a long discussion with the people with one of the makeup artists from Credo, and she suggested this shade. And I do think this was probably the best shade for me, and I think it's worked out okay in terms of the shade. And what Ellen said about this product is, I thought this would be similar to Rose Incorporated, but it does not have as much coverage, even with multiple layers. Not nearly as blurring as Rose Incorporated. Did not care for the smell, and I did not use any primer with this one. So I am surprised that she was able to get so much coverage from that Rose Incorporated foundation. That is really interesting to me. I would have thought this one would be higher coverage, but apparently some people that want more coverage are not going to feel like they can get it very well with this one. And then the next product is the Say Glowy Super Skin Foundation, which is $40. And I did a whole video on this foundation, and I tried so hard to make this work. I put more work into this foundation than really any other foundation that I've ever tried, just because it was so frustrating. And I was not able to make this work for me at all. And I found that if I put it on over a primer, that it kind of just stayed on the surface of my skin, and it felt really kind of goopy and kind of sticky and yucky. And if I didn't put it on over a primer, then it sunk down into my skin and clutched hold of it really, really strongly, and that I had a very hard time getting it off. But that either way, it seemed to look really, really bad with my wrinkles, and to make my wrinkles look much worse. And so I didn't like the texture of this at all, and I feel like the worst thing that happened is that when I used it just straight on my skin without putting down a good primer, that it not only made my wrinkles look worse when the product was on, but that it made my wrinkles look worse even after I tried really hard to get it off, and that continued on for days after I took this product off. So that made me really, really mad. But I have heard from some people that have liked this product, and they are continuing to sell it, so there must be some people that are buying it or rebuying it. But in general, I did not like this product at all. And I can't remember if I sent Ellen a sample of this one, but probably I will just go ahead and send this on to her and let her play with it, because maybe she can figure out how to make it work, since I had such bad problems with it. And in terms of the ingredients, it does include some ingredients in it that usually work well on my skin, including squalane and sodium hyaluronate and vitamin C and glycerin. But it also includes marshmallow extract, and I think that could be why the texture of this product is so strange, because marshmallow extract does tend to be kind of on the sticky side, and I really don't think that I have seen marshmallow extract in very many products at all. And so I am going to be really hesitant if I see that ingredient in another foundation. But I think that's really unusual, and that could be why I had so many problems with this one. And then next we have the Jones Road What the Foundation, and this is a product that costs $44, and I think of this as our problem child. So this is a foundation that, first of all, I really want to use, and the reason for that is because I do think that it looks better on my face than any other foundation that I have used. And it comes in a large glass jar, and then it has a very thick and creamy and hydrating texture to it. And I feel like when I put it on my skin, that it provides some kind of a little bit of a cushiony look to my skin, and so it looks like I have a little bit more fat volume in my face than I ordinarily do, and I think that helps me to look a little bit younger and a little bit less gaunt. And so I do find that to be really attractive, and especially when I am looking at it in the pictures that I have taken, I do think that it provides a very nice softened type of a look. Now, the problem with this is that it does have a number of drawbacks to it that make me not really want to use it, even though it does look really nice on my skin. And so, first of all, it has quite a bit of natural fragrance in it. And that is unappealing for some people, but much more than that, for me, it does irritate my skin quite a lot. So the version that I have here and that they used to sell, I thought that it just had rose geranium oil in it and ginger root oil, and that was all. But the last time that I looked at the website, I see a number of other natural type fragrances in it, including limonene and citronellol and citral and geraniol. And so that makes me think that the new version would probably be even more problematic than the one that I have now. So that is disappointing to see. And then in addition, there's a few other drawbacks that I have found to be less problematic, but that a lot of people have really complained about. So first of all, it does have kind of a sticky texture, and if you have long hair, your hair may even stick to the foundation, and people get kind of annoyed at that. I do find that if I use a good setting spray, so for instance, I have this Makeup by Mario setting spray, and I have found that if I spray some of this on the top of a foundation that is like this one, or any of the other ones that I have that have that sticky, cushy type of texture to it, that helps a lot in terms of it being much more wearable and being not looking different, but really feeling different and not being as annoying. So that is one good thing. And then Jones Road actually sells a powder that I also think works pretty well with this foundation that is oil absorbing and does have a lot of cornstarch in it. And then in addition, a few other issues with this product is that, first of all, it is so moisturizing that people may feel like they are not able to use their own skincare with it. So it has coconut oil in it, and not everyone likes that. And then it also has jojoba oil and olive oil and sodium hyaluronic acid and some castor oil in it. So it does have an awfully lot of oils in this product, and not everyone likes those particular oils as well to put on their skin at all. And then in addition, it comes in this large glass jar, and so this is something that they do sell a really cute little scoop that you can just take out a very small amount of this so you don't put your fingers in here, and so I have always used that. But nonetheless, it's not especially hygienic to have the foundation in this big open jar. I think that for some people, transferring some of it into a smaller container and then not having to have this large jar out all the time and to be digging into it may seem more appealing. And that is something that I have done myself. And for me, I do think that I would use this product fairly frequently if it didn't have those natural fragrances in it, because I do really, really like the way it looks on my skin, and that makes it worthwhile for me to put up with some of these other inconveniences. But the issue is that even in the past, when it just had the ginger root oil and the rose geranium oil, I can put it on over a primer. So for instance, I have often put it on over that Jane Iredale foundation that I use as a primer, and I think it does work pretty well over that, and I think I can wear it at least occasionally without it really irritating my skin. But even so, it would not be something that I would want to wear very often. And then another thing about this product is that I feel like it works much better during the winter months than it does during the summer. So I did feel consistently when I would wear this product, if it was more than about 70 degrees outside, that it would perform much less well, and it would kind of start to melt and to kind of slide off my face, and that it performed much better when I was wearing it during the cooler months. And Ellen says that she is very sensitive to many fragrances and that she also does have really sensitive skin, but those things don't seem to have bothered her so much with this particular product. And she did say, I like Jones Road, the foundation. It is sticky, but it is a different product that would be very appealing in non-humid, cooler weather. So it has been maybe 3 years since this product was released, and so I am feeling a little bit too uncomfortable to continue to use this product, I think. I think that I would really need to get a new jar if I were going to continue to use it, and I don't feel comfortable passing it along. So I am thinking that I will just hang on to this jar and bring it out to demonstrate on camera until I end up eventually maybe getting another jar of this and trying the new version. But I kind of doubt that I'm going to be able to use that new one at all because of those fragrance ingredients in it. And then we have a product from Laura Mercier, and this is called the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation, and I have this in the shade Vanille, and it is $52, and it came out, I think, when I first started my channel, so maybe 2 years ago or so. And this is a product that when I tried it out on the channel in that first review, I did kind of like it. I was thinking that it was just a little bit drying for me, but I have used it quite a bit since then, and I've concluded that this is somewhat irritating for my face, and that is why it kind of feels drying, but that the more that I use it, the more annoying it gets to my face. And it's a little bit better if I wear it over a primer, but I don't think it's really great. And this one, in terms of the ingredients that are in it, it doesn't have a lot of moisturizing type ingredients. It has camellia oil and cocoa extract, but not a whole lot else that I think is really good for my skin. But I do think it looked nice on my skin, and so I might wear it from time to time if I were able to tolerate it, but I would not wear this because it is irritating for me. It does come in a really pretty bottle. I like the frosted glass on this, and I do think it looks nice on my skin. So very recently I did get some bronzers from Laura Mercier that have just been introduced. So this one I got from the Laura Mercier website. This shade is not available on Sephora. This is shade 10, and then I also got shade 20, which is the lightest shade on Sephora. And I do like both of these quite a lot, and so I am thinking that I'm going to do a new video on the new powder bronzers that I have been trying out. And so maybe I will go back to this foundation and just demonstrate this bronzer with this foundation in that video. But after that, I think that I will maybe send a sample of this to Ellen and see if she wants the whole bottle. And then I have a product from Lawless, and this one is called Conceal the Deal Foundation, and it is $39. And I've tried this a few times on my own, and I don't think that it looks really great on me, and I think that it does offer a more full coverage, and I don't think that it went very well with my wrinkles. And in general, I was not very enthusiastic about it, and I don't think I ever actually reviewed it on camera. And this one does include some sunflower oil and vitamin C, but it's not like it's a really nourishing foundation for the skin or anything like that. I don't think it was irritating. So Lawless just came out with a new foundation. I don't know if they're going to be keeping this one or getting rid of it entirely, but I do want to talk about that new foundation from Lawless soon. And so when I do that, I will also maybe demonstrate this one unless it's already been totally removed from the market. And then I think I will pass this one on. And this is a product from Juice Beauty, and this is called Juice Flawless Serum Foundation for $45. I don't think I paid that much money for it. I think I must have gotten it on a really good sale. And this has a number of ingredients in it that sound like they could be good, including aloe, safflower oil, coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, and olive oil derivatives, and grapeseed oil, and some of these ingredients are organic. I purchased this one. I remember trying it a couple of times. I remember not liking it at all. I was thinking that I would probably include it in some kind of a roundup video, and I don't think I ever did that. And so I didn't like the way that it looked on my skin. I don't think that it was especially irritating for my skin, but I didn't think that it looked very good, either in the context of my wrinkles, but really just in terms of the finish and how it was performing. And so I'm kind of amazed that they are charging quite this much money for this product, or that anyone is actually buying it. But I will put it aside with the products that I want to try and that I do need to go ahead and review at some point. And then I also have a foundation from Polite Society, and this is called More Than a Pretty Face, and it is $42, and this one does have quite a bit of moisturizing type ingredients in it, including jojoba esters, sodium hyaluronate, niacinamide, and willow bark extract is also something that is in this product. And so I purchased this a while back, and I purchased it from the Polite Society website, and actually they sent me the wrong shade to begin with. They sent me one that was a medium shade, so this is way too dark for me. And so when I complained about that, then they sent me the right shade. And I have tried this a number of times. I think that in terms of how it looks on my face, I don't think it looks bad if I put it on straight from the bottle, but I don't think it's the most attractive foundation that I have. And I think I can wear it a little bit better when I wear it mixed with a little bit of moisturizer. And in terms of how it feels on my face, I don't think it's exactly irritating, but I don't think it's one of the foundations that my face likes the most. And I think that it's better for me if I wear a pretty good primer underneath it. So in general, I have not been all that motivated to even do a review of this product, but again, I did get a Polite Society bronzer that I have actually been kind of liking, which is pretty new to the market also. And so maybe what I should do is actually review this product in the same video that I do that Laura Mercier bronzer. And so I am going to hang on to the shade that does match for me, and that is Fair Neutral. And I think I will go ahead and send this medium neutral shade to Ellen, and then she can hopefully mix this with her House Labs really light foundation and get a shade that is appropriate for her. And then now we have silicone foundations, and so these are products that do offer a bit more coverage, and they do have silicones of some kind in the first 6 ingredients. And so the first one that I have here that I do like and that I do use from time to time is the Chantecaille Future Skin Gel Foundation, and this is $90. And this is a product that I've been using for a while, and the shade that I have been using is called Chamomile, and I do think that this one is a little bit dark for me and a little bit too yellow. And so in the recent sales over Christmas, I purchased a new bottle, and this one is called Alabaster, and I do think that this one is a much better match for my skin tone. And so this is a foundation that does include some cyclic silicone in it. It includes cyclopentasiloxane. And so I am a little bit surprised that they are still making a product with that ingredient in it, because this is a European company, and I was under the impression that those were being phased out in Europe. And like the other Chantecaille products, this one does include a lot of botanical type ingredients in it. And so those may or may not be good for my skin. In addition to that, it does include some talc in it, and also at some ingredients that are algae based. And the algae ingredients, those tend to be ones that I'm a little bit wary about, because even though I do think the algae itself could be really good for the skin, I also think that this can be something that can be contaminated with things like cyanobacteria toxin, and if that's the case, then it can be a product that I cannot tolerate at all. So that means that even though I have done fine with this product so far, that doesn't necessarily mean that every time I buy the product it will be okay for me. So the only thing that I can suggest, I guess, is to buy it from somewhere that you can take it back if necessary, and then to try it out as soon as you get it to make sure that it's not a batch that's irritating. And this product is made in Japan, and it is quite expensive, and so once in a while Chantecaille has a good sale, and so this could be a good product to purchase during the sale if you want to try it out. And I do think that for me this has been a really good foundation, and it is one that makes my skin look really nice. And if I want to have a really pretty look and I am actually getting dressed up or something like that, then this is, I think, a really good foundation to use. And according to Ellen, what she said about this foundation is that it has very nice texture, good coverage, and nice. And so I think what I will do is go ahead and send the chamomile version of this that is partially used to Ellen, and then I will keep this alabaster one and put it in the section of the products that I intend to use in the future. And then the next product is from Haus Labs, and this is the Triclone Foundation Skin Tech Foundation, and it is $45, and it comes in this lovely glass jar with a pump. And I purchased this as soon as it was released, and I did go to Sephora to pick out a shade. And I do think it's really important to go to Sephora and pick out a shade, because the way that they have described their shades is really confusing on the website. So this is similar to how MAC describes their shades, where a cool shade is a yellow shade and a warm shade is a pink shade. And so if you don't know that, then you can get very, very confused and pick up something that is particularly problematic for you. And for me, I ended up trying on a bunch of different shades in the store and going outside and looking at them. And the one that I ended up purchasing was shade 100, which is described as a light neutral with peachy type undertones. And I think it was okay for me. I think it is more like what my skin would look like if I had a little bit of sun, more than what it looks like now when I have been purposely trying not to get any sun at all. And so I am wondering if maybe I would be better off just getting a shade that was closer to my natural tone. And I also am thinking that this might have oxidized a bit, so it is looking a little bit yellowish on my skin. And so I'm wondering if maybe I should just actually go and rebuy this. And I think that's probably a good idea. Because this is really one of my favorite foundations, and I haven't worn it really recently, but very often when I do reach for a foundation that is more silicone based, that this is one that I do really, really like. And I do think that my skin likes it quite a bit. And so in terms of the ingredients, it has hyaluronic acid and squalane and some fermented ingredients. And I think the fermented ingredients, including the fermented arnica, they actually are really good for my skin. And in general, I tend to do pretty well with the Haus Labs products, and my skin does like those quite a bit. And I do like the way that this product looks on my skin. I don't think it gives me that same kind of a plumping type look that the Jones Road WTF product does. But in terms of the finish that it gives to my skin, and in terms of providing some good coverage, but without looking like it is very thick or without exacerbating the look of my wrinkles, I think it works really nicely. And it is made in Korea, so I think that is part of it. And it is available in a lot of different shades, something like 50 shades, I believe. And so that is really helpful as well. And so all in all, I have been a big fan of this, but I think that it may be time for me to reevaluate and to go to the store and to try on some products again and to see if I want to buy a new bottle. And then the next product is from Lisa Eldridge, and this is called The Foundation, and this is $61. And so there are quite a few shades in this one, and they do have samples available that they will send you if you make another purchase from the Lisa Eldridge website, or I think that there's a charge if you want to just buy the samples. So I did get a whole bunch of those samples, and I ended up with shade number 7, and I think that this is a light neutral type of a shade. And this is a foundation that I tend to wear for the same sorts of occasions as I do the House Labs foundation, and I kind of wear it for the same kinds of occasions, so I'm more likely to reach for this for occasions that I want to look kind of nice and that I don't mind wearing a silicone foundation. And I feel like this one I can remove it from my face fairly easily, and so that is another positive thing. And I don't feel like this one is necessarily as good for my skin as the House Labs foundation, but I don't think it's bad for my skin either. I feel like I've been able to wear it fine. Now this does have some botanical ingredients in it, and I have heard some people say that they have reacted really, really badly to this particular foundation, even if their skin is not usually that picky. And so this is a product that not everyone is going to do well with, depending on what your individual reactivities are. But I seem to have been fine with this myself. And in general, I do think this looks nice on my face, both in real life and on camera, and I have tried it out in some videos in the past. One thing about it that I do find to be slightly annoying is that it is not a bottle that you can put standing up. It has to either lie down on its side or else you have to store it in its box, and so that's a little bit weird to me. But it is a really pretty bottle. And it is based on a sculpture, I think, that Lisa Eldridge particularly likes. And so that is one artistic thing about it, even though in terms of actually using it, if you're like me and you have a lot of different foundations, then having to have it lie down like this on the counter, it can be a little bit annoying. And I have purchased this more recently than I did that House Labs foundation. And when I just tried it out on the back of my hand, I do think it is a better match for me than the House Labs currently is. And so I think that I will put this with the foundations that I am planning to use and see if I can get some more use out of it for the time being. But I think I really would rather use the House Labs foundation if I go ahead and buy a new shade of that. And then we have the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation, and this is $42, and it came out, I think, about 2 years ago. And what I felt when this came out is that it did remind me quite a bit of the Jones Road foundation, except that it did not have any kind of fragrance ingredients in it, and I did find it easier to use. So this one does have a bit of silicone in it, but it comes in a regular glass bottle with a pump. And even though I don't think it looks quite as good on my skin as the Jones Road product, I think that it is fairly close in terms of providing some of that plumping benefit to my skin that makes me look a little bit healthier and a little bit younger and like I have more fat volume in my face. And so I do really like the way that this looks on me. The unfortunate thing was that at the time that this was released, they actually didn't have a good shade for me. And so I really felt like none of the shades actually were even close, and that in order for it to look even decent, I really needed to have 2 different shades. And so at the time, I ended up buying this one, which is called 4C, and also this one, which is called 2N. And I did feel like at the time, if I mixed these together, that it did provide a good match to my skin, but I feel like I have a pretty common skin tone, and so I think it was very strange that I was having to mix foundations together in terms of getting a match. But they have very recently come out with quite a few new shades, and so I did go to the store and I ended up buying a 3.5C, and I think that this is actually a really, really good shade for me. Only some of the shades are available at Sephora, and so I would suggest that if you're not getting a really good match from going to Sephora and trying on the products, that you might look on the Makeup by Mario website to see if they have any more shades that might be even better for you. But I have been really happy with this 3.5C shade, and so that has been motivating for me to wear it a bit more often. And this one does have quite a few moisturizing ingredients in it. So it has coconut oil derivatives, grapeseed oil, squalane, and sunflower seed oil, as well as a few different kinds of silicones. And my feeling about this one is that I think it does perform nicely. I think it does feel pretty good on my skin. As I say, I'm not all that crazy about wearing foundations that have silicones in them very frequently. And even though I don't think that this one is as problematic as many of them, I still think that My skin really seems to like the Patrick Top foundation quite a lot, and I do think that that does provide a very nice and kind of soft look to my skin, and so I have been more using that product, but I have used this Makeup by Mario product on occasion also recently because I do really like both of these products. And recently I did ask Ellen what she had been wearing recently, and she said she had mostly been wearing her own bottle of the Makeup by Mario foundation. And so what I think I will go ahead and do is just send both of these other bottles that are not good matches for me along to her. So I think that she will ordinarily be able to wear this light color on its own, and then maybe she can get some use out of this darker one by mixing it with her Haus Labs product. And then next we have the Fenty Soft Lit Foundation, which was released last year, and this is $40. And so I have this in the shade of 160, and I think this has been a pretty good shade match for me. And this is a foundation that is made in Korea, and I do think that this looks really nice on my skin. This was a foundation that was really, really popular last year, and I think a lot of people did really, really like it, and it is fairly affordably priced at $40. Now for me, it has the same issue that all of the Fenty foundations have, which is that once I get it on my skin, it has a lot of waterproofing type elements in it, and it sticks really tenaciously to my skin. And I feel like no matter what I do and what kind of oil-based makeup removers I use, that it is very difficult to get this particular product off. And so that is a really high motivation for me not to use it at all. And that is too bad, because otherwise I do think that this is quite a lovely foundation. I do think it looks really good on me, and that it is a very thin foundation that does not exacerbate the look of my wrinkles, and that works pretty well for me in terms of just giving a really pretty look to my skin without looking like I'm wearing very much makeup. And it really doesn't have a lot of moisturizing type ingredients in it, and I think that that probably is one reason why it was so popular last year, because all different kinds of people could wear it, even if they had pretty oily skin. And it does have some Kakadu plum extract in it, so that is an ingredient that I always like to see on an ingredient list. But in general, I kind of don't see myself wearing this one again, but I think I may keep it for comparison purposes. And then another product that was released last year was the Huda Easy Blur Foundation, and this is $37 for a full-size bottle, and I was actually able to buy this really mini bottle on their website for a fairly small amount of money, and so I was happy to be able to give it a try without having to spend as much for it. And this is a product that does include a cyclic silicone in it, which is cyclopentasiloxane, and so it does have a really smooth feeling on my skin, and I haven't found this product to be irritating at all. So that was a little bit of a surprise, because I don't feel like in the past I've had all that much success with many of the Huda products that I have tried. And it also includes some niacinamide and bitter cherry fruit water and zeolite. And so it doesn't seem to have ingredients in it that would be inappropriate for oily skin, but I do feel like it has worked pretty well for me on my really dry skin over a moisturizer. And it also seems to be very nice in terms of how it looks on my skin, and it hasn't exacerbated the texture or the look of the wrinkles on my skin. And in general, I think that as silicone foundations go, this one has been quite nice. So this does provide, I think, a little bit more coverage than the products that are silicone-based that I have designated as skin tints, but I don't think that it is providing anything near full coverage. I think it is more solid medium coverage, even if I put a couple of layers on it. But I do think it looks really nice even when I layer it, and I think that the price is good, and it just is in a plastic bottle, but that does keep the price down and makes it a lot easier to travel with. And so I can see why a lot of people would be liking this product, and I think it is a good product for a marketplace where people are being a little bit more hesitant to spend much money on things. And then another product is from Pat McGrath, and this is called the Sublime Foundation, and it is $69, and the shade that I have in this one is shade 4, and I think that this has actually been a really good match for me. And this is a foundation that I've had for a couple of years, and I think that it actually is quite a nice foundation for me, and I don't think it's been problematic in terms of irritating my skin, and I do think it looks nice on me, and it doesn't exacerbate the look of my wrinkles. But I don't feel like I like it quite as much as, for instance, the House Labs foundation or the Lisa Eldridge foundation, and so I haven't necessarily worn it that much because on the occasions that I am looking for a foundation of this type, I tend to wear one of those others instead. But I do like it, and this one does have cyclic silicone in it. This one has, again, cyclopentasiloxane as well as some other different kinds of dimethicone, and it also has alcohol within the first 6 ingredients on the list, and so some people do object to that. I don't feel like that's been problematic for me. I think it's been okay. And I see that it has red raspberry leaf culture, and so that could be one reason that I do well with this, because I do tend to like fermented type ingredients. So all in all, I think this is a fine foundation, and I think that this bottle is quite lovely, but it is kind of on the expensive side for $69, so I don't know that it's probably doing all that well in this marketplace when there is so much other competition out there. And this, by the way, is made in Italy, and it is probably came out 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And then Beauty Counter is a company that is currently not in operation, but supposedly they are going to be coming back during the summer months, so I don't know if that's actually going to occur, and I'm not sure which products they will be offering if they do come back, but I'll just mention the Beauty Counter products that I have tried. So the first one is the Beauty Counter Skin Twin, and this product is a silicone-based foundation, and I think that at the time that it was released, which was quite a few years ago, I think that it was not too bad, but I also think that it is a product that when I have tried it on my skin, I think it does exacerbate the look of the texture of my skin quite a bit, and I feel like compared to many of the other foundations that are available now, this one tends to be one that goes on the skin pretty thick, and it looks like I am definitely wearing makeup. And so I would probably not be inclined to ever wear that one again, regardless of whether it is available. And I think that this one from Ilia, which is called the True Skin Serum Foundation, this one is still available, and it is $54. And I feel like this one is very, very similar in my mind to that Beauty Counter product. So again, when I wear this on my skin, it does look like I am wearing foundation. It doesn't have that really thin and natural look that many of the foundations that are available now have, and I do think that this formula does exacerbate the look of my wrinkles quite a lot, and so for that reason I have rarely worn this product. And then in addition, this product does include an ingredient that's called phenethyl alcohol, and phenethyl alcohol is an ingredient that's used in the perfume industry actually, and it smells like roses, and you could get that particular ingredient from roses themselves, but it also is generally made in a laboratory, so it's basically synthetic fragrance, and I don't think that my skin likes that very much. And some of these natural brands especially tend to use phenethyl alcohol a lot, particularly Ilia and Kosas, and so I also do not think that my skin particularly likes this product. I think that I have been able to wear it without it getting really, really irritated, but I don't think it would be a product that I would want to wear on a regular basis, even if I liked the way it looked, and even if it were didn't have any silicones in it. I still think that this is not a product that would be that great for my skin. And I feel like maybe I have demonstrated this one enough that I will ask Ellen if she wants this bottle of this product, because I'm probably not going to be using it or talking about it too much from now on. And then I have a foundation that is from Kylie, and this is called the Kylie Power Plush Foundation, and I think that this is only available on the Kylie website. I don't think that you can get that on Ulta. And this one is made in Italy, and it has niacinamide and gotu kola extract. So as you would expect, I'm thinking that this product is specifically formulated for people with younger skin. People with younger skin tend to like those particular ingredients in their products. And for me, I do feel like it wasn't really made for me. It's not exactly bad for my skin. I think that my skin is able to tolerate it just fine. But I think that it does not have very much moisturizing ingredients in it, and so it feels kind of drying on my skin, and I do feel like it exacerbates the texture on my skin and the wrinkles. And so if I mix this one with some moisturizer, then I think it's a bit better. But in general, this is not a product that I probably will be wearing. But I think that for people that are considerably younger than I am, that this one could have some potential. But it certainly seems to be the case that their skin tint is getting much better reviews, and that one is available at Ulta. And then I have this older product from One Size, and this one seems to be on sale, so it may be that they are discontinuing this particular product at both Sephora and on their website. But this one is called One Size Turn Up the Base BB Cream, and it is $35. And it is somewhat oil-based, so it has mango butter and avocado oil, and then a variety of different silicones in it. And I tried this in my foundation video that I did over the holidays, and I don't think that I really like this one very much at all on my skin, and I do think that the new product that they've just released, that one is much better in all respects. And so I don't see myself using this one, and so I do think I will pass this one on. And there is another product that's called the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, and this is $46, and so I did give that a try a while back, and I did find that that product irritated my skin, and I also found it to exacerbate the look of my wrinkles quite a bit, so that was somewhat disappointing. And I think that probably the reason that it irritated my skin is because it includes rose essential oil in it, and so that is something that I do not tolerate very well. So other people may be able to be okay with it if you don't have that particular kind of sensitivity. And it does have some sodium hyaluronate in it, and they also said apple fruit water, which seems like it could be a positive thing. But for me, it just was really surprising to me how bad it looked in terms of the context of my wrinkles. And I have been looking to do a video on fuller coverage foundations, and I know that the one that many people use is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and that one is $52. And that is kind of a classic, and I had actually never really experimented with it. And so the other day at Ulta, I did put that on my face. And I did find that to be irritating, which is too bad because it doesn't include any fragrance in it, but apparently some of the other ingredients in it are kind of problematic. And that is an older formula, and so it really doesn't surprise me that an older formula from a company like Estee Lauder would be irritating. So that is too bad. I don't think it necessarily looked bad on my skin. I think it was a lot better than I was imagining that it would look like in terms of the context of my wrinkles, considering that it is a fuller coverage foundation. And so if you can tolerate the product, a lot of people do seem to kind of swear by that product, particularly for occasions that they want their foundation to stay in place. And one product that I got a sample of and that I did demonstrate in my Fenty video is the Fenty Pro Filter Foundation, and that is $40, and that is supposed to be a full coverage foundation. And in terms of the fragrance, it does actually list unspecified fragrance on the ingredient list, and I didn't find that particular product to be irritating to my skin exactly. I did find the fragrance to be somewhat objectionable, and when I look back on it and when I've smelled it again, I believe that that fragrance is probably ethylene brassylate. And ethylene brassylate is a synthetic fragrance that was developed by DuPont in the 1940s, and it is supposed to be smelling like musk. And so that is a fragrance that is sometimes included in products that are otherwise somewhat clean, like the Victoria Beckham concealer, and that I do not like at all and that I do find objectionable. And this product from Fenty, this does include some talc in it and some pineapple extract and papaya extract. And I did find that it was quite heavy on my skin. I think that this probably is a foundation that you could wear all day in really challenging conditions, like being hot outside and sweating, and it is very waterproof. And I did find it to be almost impossible to get off, and I think that it really looked very heavy on my skin and that it did not work well in the context of my wrinkles. And so for all of those reasons, I would not use this particular product. And another product that I tried a sample of and that I did find to be irritating to my skin was the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation for $29, and so that was a bit unfortunate. And then, as I say, I tend not to be a big fan of silicone foundations, and trying foundations tends to be challenging for me because my skin does have the potential of reacting really badly to them and being sort of out of commission for a while in terms of being able to try other things on if I try the wrong thing. And so there are several silicone foundations that I have picked up, either full bottles or else samples that I haven't actually gotten around to trying yet. So one of these is the ABH Luminous Foundation for $39, and this one was released earlier this year, and I did experiment with it a little bit, and what I felt right off the bat is that it seemed like it was kind of on the drying side to me, and therefore that it would be better for me to wait until it got to be weather that was a little bit warmer, and then to see how it held up for me in the warmer weather. And so this one is a cyclic silicone product. It has cyclopentasiloxane in it, as well as some other silicones. And it does have sodium hyaluronate in it, so there is a little bit of hydrating, but there also is some alcohol in this product. And then I have this foundation from Jane Iredale, and this is called Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation, and it is $52, and it has a variety of different kinds of dimethicone in it, and there also is some coconut oil derivatives, some glycerin, some jojoba oil, and tamarind extract and linseed extract. And so this is a foundation that is a number of years old, and so I am a little suspicious that this is going to be something that is going to look really good on my skin, but I think I should at least try it out. And Jane Iredale is going to be coming out with a new sunscreen foundation soon, and so maybe that would be a good opportunity to try out this foundation as well and to compare it to the new product. And then Lawless has a new product that is called Forget the Filler Foundation, which is $43. And this one I did try on my entire face at Sephora, and I did also get Sephora to give me a sample of this product. And I don't think it was irritating to me, and I wouldn't say that I thought that it looked really exceptionally good on my face, but I didn't think that it looked really bad, and I didn't really get a chance to look and see how it was performing in terms of what my wrinkles were looking like, and I didn't shoot it on camera yet. What I will say about that product is that I tried on the lightest shade and the second lightest shade, and I felt like the lightest shade was a reasonable match for me, and that the second lightest shade was much too dark. And this was kind of a surprise because this is really unprecedented. There certainly are a lot of people that have lighter skin than I do, and so if that is you, then I don't think you're going to be able to get a good match in this particular line, because they really are not offering appropriate shades for people that do have very light skin. And I do not feel like that is a particularly moisturizing foundation, and I do think that it's intended for full coverage. And so I do want to try the sample that I have on camera and compare that to some of these other more full coverage foundations. And so I will be doing that, but I don't think that this will be a foundation that I'll be planning to wear myself on a regular basis based on the experience that I've had with this. And then this is another foundation from Rose Incorporated, and this is called the Soft Light Skin Smoothing Liquid Foundation, and it is $54. And I think it was released maybe a year or a year and a half ago, something like that. And I did try this on as soon as it came out, and I thought that it was okay, but somehow I never got around to filming a video about it. I think that it didn't look great in the context of the texture and the wrinkles on my face, and that if I thinned it down a little bit, it looked considerably better. But that in general, I still don't think that this is a product that really is designed for my mature skin. I think that it might work better for people that have younger skin than I do. And I don't think it was irritating for my skin, and I think that I would like to go back and put it on at some point just to see what it looks like on camera, because I do actually have it. And then this is the MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powered Foundation, and it is $46. And so this one, I think, came out at about the same time as that Rose Incorporated product, so maybe 18 months ago or so. And I do recall going to the MAC counter and trying this on both sides of my face. And I felt like it was not too bad for me. I don't think that it was really exacerbating of the look of the wrinkles. And I think this was a better product than a lot of foundations that are on the market. And somehow I ended up just putting this aside and totally forgetting that I had it until I started doing this video. And so I do think that this is another product that I should probably try out and to give a more detailed recommendation in terms of what it looks like and to show you what it looks like on camera. And this one does include some positive ingredients in it in terms of moisturizing. So it has glycerin, olive oil, jojoba oil, sodium hyaluronate, and snow fungus, and it does not have any cyclic silicones in it, and I don't think that my skin was irritated by it, and so I really should give it a better try. And then another product that I have is the Smashbox Always On Foundation for $45. I think I must have picked this one up during an Ulta sale for maybe half price, and so that is why I purchased it and then kind of forgot about it. And so I do want to try this one out as well, and this one includes some glycerin, mango butter, and avocado oil, so I would think that this one might be not too bad for my dry skin. And I actually haven't tried this one on at all, so I do want to go ahead and give this one a try. And then this one, this was really bananas for me to buy this, but this is the Tom Ford Architecture Soft Matte Blurring Foundation, and it is priced at $150. And I did get this on a really good sale. I think I ended up paying less than $100 for it, which is still quite a lot of money. But I was really curious about whether or not it actually was any good, and I didn't find very many reviews of it. And so this product is described as a soft matte product. So I did try this out when I first got it, which was in the middle of winter, and I did find it to be quite drying for my skin. And I found that at the time, if I put it on over the Merit priming product that is kind of on the thicker side and creamier side, that it kind of worked for me. But I felt like this would be a good product to try out during the summer to see how it handled with the sweat and with the hot weather. And so hopefully I can do this and to compare it to some of these other full coverage or matte type of foundations to see if I actually like it during the summer months. And so now let's talk about sunscreen foundations. And so one of the foundations that I like the most is the Chantecaille Just Skin product that I already talked about. And then a new product that was released late in the fall was the RMS Sun Cover Up Super Tint SPF 50, and this one is $49. And so I did talk about this one and demonstrate it in my video on RMS products. And I feel like this is a product that is using a new form of zinc. And so supposedly this is not a zinc that is nano zinc, and nonetheless it does not have a white cast to it. And so therefore you can use it in higher quantities and not have it feel as thick and not have it look as white on the skin. And I think that this one is really interesting because it is providing a lot of sunscreen protection, and it's listed as SPF 50, and there is a small amount of tint in it, so I do think that it provides a little, not really coverage, but it's just sort of matching the skin tone with that tint in it. And I feel like with this one that I can actually use the recommended amount of the product on my skin and have it look okay. And so what people typically say is that just for your face and not counting your neck, you should be using a full quarter teaspoon of a product if you want to get the SPF that is listed on the label. And I think that with this one, I actually have been able to use a considerable amount of the product on my skin, and that it does look nice, and that I do think that it's something that I would be willing to wear at least during the summer months when I do really need some sun protection in addition to the hat that I am wearing. And so I've been really impressed with this product for that reason. I have the shade that is called Alabaster, and this is the lightest shade, and I feel like this is not really the right shade for me, but I think that the coverage in this particular product is light enough that I don't think it's been a problem, and then I've just put on a little bit of bronzer on the top of it and has looked fine. But I think that if I were going to purchase it again, I would probably get one of the darker shades. So all in all, I've been kind of impressed with this product. I don't think that I would wear it just for ordinary wear. I think that it's not really meeting my standards in terms of the kind of foundations that I like to wear, which are things that feel like nothing on my skin and that look like nothing. But as sunscreen foundations go, or just wearing any kind of sunscreen in general, I think that this one is one of the best ones that I have found. And so when I do want to wear a sunscreen over the summer, which I don't do every day, most of the time I do just rely on my hat, I think that this is one that I will be definitely experimenting with over this summer. And in terms of the ingredient list, I think that the moisturizing ingredients in it are not too annoying and they are not too heavy, but I do think that they provide some nice moisture to the skin. And so those include some coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, shea butter, bisabolol, jojoba oil, olive oil, squalene, niacinamide, and quinoa extract. And then it also includes some herbs in it, and RMS tends to put these helpful herbs in a lot of products, and in some cases they are a little bit on the strong side, and in this case I don't really feel like I'm even smelling them at all, and I'm not finding them to be problematic at all. And I think that in terms of irritating my skin, this product has not done that at all. I think it's been perfectly fine, and there are no silicones in this product. And so all in all, this is actually one of the products that I chose as being one of the best ones that were released during 2024, and I don't think people have paid much attention to it yet because they were not that interested at the end of the year in products that have to do with sunscreens, but I do think that this is a product that I am really, really impressed with. And then next we have the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue SPF 30, and this is $37, and I believe that this is still the best-selling tinted moisturizer with sunscreen on the market, or at least the best-selling high-end version of that particular product. And I think that that is a product that I am willing to wear and that I have done okay with, and I did do a full video on that product maybe 2 years ago or so, and so I did try that out on camera. And this one does have quite a few moisturizing type ingredients in it, including coconut derivatives and squalane and trehalose and sodium hyaluronate, which makes it more appropriate for people that have mature and dry skin. And it does not have any silicones in it, and it does only have titanium dioxide in it. It does not contain any zinc oxide, and I think it does have a nano version of that titanium dioxide. And so if you're concerned about nanoparticles, then that might not be one that you would want to choose. And personally, I did like that product quite a bit, and I don't think that it is maybe as good as some of the other products that have been released over the past year or so, including the RMS one, but I think that it was one that I was willing to wear and that I have worn on a number of occasions, along with my SPF 50 hat from Sunday afternoons. That is always a must for me when I'm out in the sun. But if I need to have some extra sun protection, then I would be willing to wear this Bare Minerals one. And they did come out with a new version of this Complexion Rescue product in a matte format, and so I don't think that that particular product would be as appropriate for me or for most women who have a more mature and dry skin. But if you know people that are interested in sunscreen that do have more oilier skin, then that could be one for them to consider. And what Ellen said about that product is that it does not blur wrinkles or pores, goes on very smoothly, and that it's probably better for younger skin. And I think that's the case. I don't think that that really looks great on my skin, and it wouldn't be a product that I would be wearing because I wanted to look better. It would just be a product that I would be wearing because I wanted to have a little bit of extra sun protection. But it's not one that I would put on a full quarter teaspoon, I don't think. I have never been able to put that much of it on. It's just a little bit of something extra in addition to my hat. And then next we have the Say Slip Tint SPF 35, and this one is $36. And this one has some coconut oil derivatives in it, and grapeseed oil and argan oil, and it just has zinc oxide rather than titanium dioxide. But in general, this is not a product that I've worn too much. I certainly don't think that I would put on a full quarter teaspoon of this, so I don't think I would ever be getting that SPF 35. In terms of the amount of sun coverage, it's just something that I would wear in addition to my hat when I felt like I needed a little bit of extra coverage. And I think it's a little bit thicker than some of these other products that I've been trying out. And so it's not really something that I really enjoy wearing that much, but it is tolerable for me at least. And then I also have this foundation from Jane Iredale, and this is called Glow Time SPF 25, and it includes titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, and it is priced at $52. And I remember when this one came out, I think it was only 2 or maybe 3 years ago. And what I do know about this product is that it is one of the lowest rated products in terms of consumer reviews on the entire Ulta website, or at least one of the lowest rated foundations, but I think one of the lowest rated makeup products in general. And so they are discontinuing this one. I did try it out, and I did find that it was really, really drying to my skin, and it looked really cakey on my skin, and it seemed to be very difficult to get a decent look with this, no matter how little I used. And of course, if you are using it for sunscreen purposes, then you need to use a lot, and that makes it particularly ill-suited for my skin. And that is currently on sale on the Jane Iredale website because they are coming out with a new sunscreen, so maybe their new tinted moisturizer sunscreen will be better. And so I don't think I need to keep this one anymore, and so I will just send this along and see if Ellen likes it. And this is a product from Marie Veronique, and this is called Everyday Coverage Tinted Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 30. And like most of the Marie Veronique products, this includes a variety of expensive ingredients that are more oil-based. So it has sunflower seed oil, jojoba oil, apricot kernel oil, meadow foam seed oil, glycerin, red raspberry seed oil, allantoin, and sea buckthorn oil, and also some carrot extract, and then a few essential oils, cistus oil and immortal oil. And it includes a synthetic polymer that EWG gives a 4 in terms of concern. Now, for Marie Veronique in general, in terms of their skincare products, they do use a lot of oils that I find appealing, and some of them are included in this particular product, and they do tend to be organic oils. And when I get the products, they do tend to feel good on my skin, and I do enjoy using them, but they're not using any preservatives, and I feel like the products do go bad really quickly, and so that is kind of unfortunate. In terms of this sunscreen, I was thinking maybe this would be a really nice natural product, and I do think that it feels okay on my skin, even though it has those essential oils in it. I don't think that those have been problematic for me, but I don't like the way this looks on my skin. I think that this is something that I would have to be really desperate to wear, and I certainly don't think that I can put on a full quarter teaspoon of it and get the SPF 30 coverage, and it certainly is expensive. So I do think this was a bit of a mistake for me to purchase, and I should try it out on camera at some point. But it was an interesting experiment, but I would not recommend buying this one. And then Beauty Counter had a pretty popular tinted moisturizer that was called Dew Skin, and this was just SPF 20, and it has a variety of different kinds of dimethicone in it, and it also had a coconut oil derivatives and some sodium hyaluronate in it. And I had a problem with this in terms of it irritating my skin because it does include a number of different essential oils, including orange oil, orange flower oil, bergamot oil, rose oil, and clary sage oil. So I know that the rose oil would be a problem for me, and maybe some of those others as well. And then it also has natural vanilla in it. And the active ingredient in this one was zinc oxide. And I would not want to put a whole lot of this product on my skin, not a quarter teaspoon of it. I think that it was not really appropriate to do that. Ellen said that this feels very nice, goes on evenly with a bit of coverage, so she seemed to kind of like that one. And so I think I will just go ahead and send her this bottle, and then we will see what Beauty Counter does if they come back. And then a brand that is sold at both Credo and at Sephora and that some people have liked is called Iris and Romeo. And their tinted moisturizer is called Best Skin Days SPF 30, and it is $48. And it comes in a glass jar. And this is a thicker product. And what I found is that this product did not really work for me in any respect. So first of all, it had rose flower oil in it, and so that is one thing that irritated my skin. And I also felt like when I put this on my skin that it really did not look very good at all, and it was particularly problematic in terms of exacerbating the look of my wrinkles. And in general, I think that it did not look very natural. And it does have some good moisturizing ingredients in it, so maybe that is why some people do like it. So the ingredients include coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, sunflower oil, jojoba oil, moringa oil, vitamin C, and sodium hyaluronate. So if you have skin that is dry, but it does not have very many wrinkles in it, then that might be a good product for you. But I find it hard to recommend this product for mature skin just because I did have so many problems with it. And I still should go ahead and demonstrate it at some point though. And then Jane Iredale has another sunscreen that is more like a tinted moisturizer with not very much coverage to it. And this is called Dream Tint Tinted Moisturizer, and it is $50. And it is just SPF 15. And this one is actually pretty popular, and I did think it didn't look bad on my skin. I would be able to wear it in terms of how it looked on my skin, but it's not giving a lot of coverage, and I don't think that I would want to put a whole lot of this product on in order to get the full SPF 15 coverage. And the other thing about this product is that it does have a few ingredients in it that could be irritating, and I did find that this product was too irritating for me to actually wear. And so the ingredients in it that would be concerning are algae extract, grapefruit seed extract, and lavender oil. And I'm not necessarily sure that any of those would always be irritating for me, but I did find that this product itself was irritating. And some of the ingredients in it that could be good for the skin and that I felt like probably were helpful in terms of making the product look better on my skin were jojoba oil, sunflower oil, and shea butter. And this one just has titanium dioxide in it, and it doesn't have any zinc. And Ellen said she did not like the smell of this product, and so that was one incentive for her not to be using it. And so I think that what I will do is just hang on to this, and that when I get that new foundation from Jane Iredale, then I will use this as a comparison. And then here is another product that I picked up maybe 18 months ago again, and that I put aside and I never actually tried out, and certainly didn't try out on camera. And this one is called the Bare Minerals Original Pure Serum Foundation, and it is SPF 20, and it is $44. And some of the ingredients that it has in this that could be good for the skin include coconut oil derivatives and sodium hyaluronate. And it only contains titanium dioxide without any zinc oxide, and I do think this one has nanoparticle titanium dioxide in it, and I think that I should probably try this one out and see what I think about it. And then another product that I just picked up from Ulta that I have not yet tried out is the Cooler Rosalance Tinted Moisturizer SPF 30, and this one is $52. And I was recommended this product by a few people that said that even though they reacted to almost everything that they tried, that this one had been okay for them. And so I thought that I should give it a try, even though it is really expensive. And now that I just opened this bottle, I feel like it's half empty. And so I wonder if maybe I ended up with a tester of this product. I think I did buy this one in the store. So I guess now I have to go to the store and see if I can get an exchange on it or something. So that is really disappointing. But in any case, this one just has titanium dioxide in it and no zinc oxide, it looks like. And in terms of the ingredients in it that might be moisturizing, it includes organic safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran oil, and some glycerin. And they list unspecified flavor. And I don't know that that is something that I usually feel very good about when they list that, but I think that it does have a scent to it, and it almost smells kind of flowery, and so that is a little bit concerning to me also. And I think that the flavor is probably from this rose cell extract. And usually with flower things, I do better with extracts than with essential oils, and so it is possible that this might be okay on my skin. It does have hydrolyzed wheat protein and then also plankton extract in it, so those are ingredients that could be problematic for some people as well. But it does say on the bottle, like, farm to face, and so that makes me think that this is primarily all natural ingredients. That's not necessarily always a good thing, but it could be, and so I would like to give it a try, but it does concern me that this bottle seems to be half empty now. And then Jane Iredale is introducing a new product, which is called the Jane Iredale Skin Tuition SPF 30 Radiance Boosting Liquid Foundation for $56. And this is going to be coming in 26 shades. And I am imagining that this might include that new kind of zinc oxide, but I'm not sure. So I will have to think about giving this a try. It does look like it has some moisturizing ingredients in it, including sodium hyaluronate, apple fruit extract, sunflower seed oil, and jojoba oil, and glycerin. And then one more product that is less expensive that I have heard some good reviews about and that the ingredients look okay is the Neutrogena Pure Screen UV Tint SPF 30 for $17. And I do have a Neutrogena foundation product without sunscreen in it that I have liked, and so that does make me a little bit optimistic about the idea that this one might be okay too. And this one does have dimethicone in it. It uses titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, and I think that the ingredient list is looking okay to me, and so I am looking forward to giving this one a try. And then this is a product that I picked up maybe 2 years ago, and this is from True Botanicals, and it was called the Broad Spectrum Sunscreen SPF 30. And this one was available in multiple shades, so it says that I have shade 5 on this bottle, and I actually kind of liked it compared to many of the sunscreens that are out there, and I'm not always doing all that well with the True Botanicals formulas because they tend to include a lot of fragrance ingredients. But I actually did okay with this, and unfortunately, they have discontinued this product and they came out with just plain sunscreen that looks fairly similar, but that doesn't have tints in it. And so I recently picked up a bottle of that, and I think I will just go ahead and send this bottle on to Ellen so that she can get some use out of it, maybe. And then next I have a little box of foundations and skin tints that are priced at less than $25. And so even though that is usually not the price point that I am reviewing on my channel, I did think that it would be good to give people a few options of things that they might want to try if they are looking to spend not very much money. And I tried this one on again yesterday, and I have liked it in the past, and I was surprised at how much I still like it. And so this is called the Pacifica Kind Tint Tinted Serum, and it is $14, and it comes in this little plastic bottle. And so the first 6 ingredients in this are water, squalane, caprylic capric triglyceride, which is a coconut oil derivative, sterile alcohol, cetyl alcohol, sunflower seed oil, and cocoa capryllate. And then some of the other ingredients that are in this include shea butter, sodium hyaluronate, polypeptide 1, vitamin C, niacinamide, caffeine, and some fermented ingredients. And then there's also some jasmine extract. And I was really surprised that I actually still do like this product. I always feel like it's probably that I was misremembering that this was a good product because it is so inexpensive. At $14 is really quite a steal, considering that I think this is something that I actually do like wearing. And I feel like it doesn't give a whole lot of coverage, but that it does give some nice moisturizing benefits, and my skin is not annoyed by it. And I feel like the texture of my skin looks a little bit better, and it's giving a little bit of blurring and a little bit of evening out of the color on my skin. And this is a very nice, pretty product. And so I feel quite good about using this, and so I think I will go ahead and put this with the products that I do intend to continue to use coming up over the summer months. And then another product that was just released this past year that is priced at $22 is the About Face product that is called the Performer. And so this comes in a bottle with a doe foot, which is a little bit unusual, but I did not mind using this as a way to apply the foundation. And I think that this was actually a nice product. It provided some nice coverage. I did not find this to be irritating at all. I don't think that it is ideally suited to my mature skin. I think that there are products that do look considerably better on my skin, but I don't think this one looks bad, and I don't think that my wrinkles look worse, or at least not considerably worse, and so I do think it is a good option. I think it's probably a little better for people that are a little younger than I am and who have skin that is less dry, but I do think it's an option, and I am willing to wear it. And the skincare ingredients that are in here include a coconut oil derivative, glycerin, and yeast extract. And there is also wintergreen extract, which I would have been a little concerned about, but I'm not smelling that, and I think that it has been fine for my skin. And then next we have a product from Caliray, and this is called the Caliray Free Dreaming Skin Tint, and this is currently on the Caliray website at $19. And this used to be available at Sephora for considerably more money, but Sephora has discontinued this product. And I thought at first when Caliray introduced this at this price that they were just selling off their existing inventory, and then that was going to be that. But it did come back into stock in a lot of different shades, and so I feel like maybe they are actually planning to continue to sell this product at a lower price just through their website. And I think that for the higher price, it was not a great deal for this product. I think at the lower price, it's something that might be more worth considering. I feel like on my skin it was okay in terms of not irritating it, especially if I put it on over a primer. And I feel like in terms of it, how it looked on my skin, again, I think it looked okay. I think that if I use it straight out of the bottle, it does exacerbate the look of the texture on my skin a little bit, and that there are a lot of products that I like a bit more, but it does offer quite a bit of coverage, and if I thin it down with a moisturizer like the Outset Moisturizer, I think that it works okay for me. So I probably would not think that I was going to be using this regardless of the circumstances, but I can see for people that want to get a foundation that is a reasonable price, that this would be one that many people could make it work for them, and so I think it could be worth trying. And then next we have the Neutrogena Sensitive Skin Serum Foundation, and this is priced at $18. And this is a silicone-based foundation, but it does include non-cyclic silicones, and it has some glycerin in it. And I feel like this one has worked really well for me, actually. It's not a product that I have chosen to wear because in general I don't wear too many silicone-based foundations, and when I do, I have ones that I like better. But when I get it out and try it out, I do feel like this one actually looks quite nice on my skin, and it hasn't been irritating at all. And so if you are looking for a silicone-based foundation, this would be one that I would definitely consider. And I have actually seen this one at my local Walmart, and there are very few things at my local Walmart that I would consider buying and wearing from the cosmetics department, but this is one that I think is actually quite nice. And then another product that I have thought has been surprisingly okay is the Physicians Formula Silk Elixir for $18. And for the most part, the Physicians Formula products, they tend to include so much fragrance and synthetic fragrance in their products that I really, really hate them. But in this case, this does not have any scent in it that I have been able to detect. And I think it has looked fairly nice on my skin. And this one does not include any silicones in it. And so some of the moisturizing ingredients in this one include an olive oil derivative and some sunflower oil and coconut oil. And so this would not be appropriate for everyone, especially with that coconut oil in it. But it does include a variety of organic ingredients, and then it also has some jojoba oil and some squalane and a fermented ingredient in it. And in general, I haven't had any problem with this one. And I did try it out in a video that I did on skin tints in general, non-silicone skin tints a while back. And so if you want to see what it looks like on my skin, you could take a look at that. But I think for the price, this is not a bad product either. And LYS makes a product that is called the Triple Fix Foundation, which is priced at $22, and then you could get that one for less money when there are sales available. And this one includes some coconut oil derivatives, glycerin, avocado oil, and jojoba oil. And I did try this at one point. I just had a sample of it, and I did find that it irritated my skin. And so I have given up on that one, but it is one that some people seem to like, and that could be an option. And a couple of years ago, Maybelline introduced a line of products that was called the Green Edition. And so I decided to buy their foundation that was from that line, which is called the Green Edition Tinted Oil for $14. And I found this one to be problematic from all respects. It did irritate my skin. I do think it looked really, really awful on my skin. And so now that whole line has been discontinued, and so I can throw this one away. And then I also have a product from Pixi, which is a relatively inexpensive line that I have seen at Target, for instance. And so this is called the H2O Skin Tint, and it is $24. And this one has cyclic silicones in it. I'm not seeing a lot of moisturizing type ingredients in this one. And I did find that this one was irritating. I'm not quite sure why it was irritating, but I do think in a lot of cases that products that are relatively inexpensive are using lower end versions of some of the ingredients that might be okay for me if they are using the higher end versions, and that is one reason that I tend to have problems with drugstore type products or products that are like, for instance, The Ordinary. And so I suspect that that is what happened with this. I didn't think it looked bad on my skin, but it is a silicone-based skin tint, and it has some cyclic silicones in it, and I don't see any particular reason to keep this around, and so I'm just going to send this on and see if Ellen is able to tolerate it. And then one time when Ulta was having a sale, I went through and I spent quite a bit of time looking at some of the more inexpensive foundations that they were offering to see if any of them at all looked like they would have potential in terms of their ingredient lists. And I did find a few, and I did pick them up. And so I think at some point I would like to do a overview video with some drugstore type foundations, or maybe some drugstore makeup in general. And so here are some of the products that I picked up. So the first one is called the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk for $13. And this is a foundation that has cyclic silicones and other silicones in it. And it does have a variety of ingredients that I think could be good for the skin, including glycerin and niacinamide and coconut oil, and sodium hyaluronate, sodium PCA, trehalose, sodium hyaluronate, another form of it, and sunflower oil. But it also has some ingredients in it that I think probably have a good potential of irritating my skin, including limonene and phenethyl alcohol, as well as regular alcohol and soybean oil. And so since I have this one, I should actually give it a try, but I'm not all that hopeful that it's going to work for me anyway. And then the next product is the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence for $22. And this is another one of those products like the Jane Iredale product or the Chanel product or the Rose Incorporated product, where there's a clear serum and then it has these tiny little pigment balls in it. And so you are supposed to put that on the back of your hand and mix it up. And it does have the amodimethicone in it, but no other silicones. And it has some bakuchiol in it, so that is why it is supposed to be ageless, because that is supposed to be an ingredient that is good for preventing wrinkles, supposedly. And it has some benzyl alcohol in it, so that concerns me because I think that that can be irritating for me. And it has glycerin as a hydrator in it. So since I have this one, I should give it a try and then get back to you on it. And then this product from L'Oreal, a lot of people that review drugstore makeup, they seem to like this particular product. And this is called the True Match Super Blendable Foundation for $14. I tend to find that L'Oreal products are particularly problematic for me, but I picked this one up anyway. And it includes some cyclic silicones and other silicones in it. And they also put in chromium oxide greens. I think that's probably totally unnecessary to put that in a foundation, so that's a little disappointing. And in terms of the ingredients that could be helpful, it includes glycerin and sodium hyaluronate and aloe. And so those are supposed to be hydrators. And so I should give this a try, I guess. And then there's the Neutrogena Pure Screen UV tint that I just mentioned in the sunscreen section. And then there is this product from Revlon, and this is called the Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation for $18. And so this one includes squalane, glycerin, coconut oil derivatives, and sodium hyaluronate, and licorice root extract. And this one does have a cyclic silicone in it and a variety of other silicones. And it also includes algae extract in it, so I'm a little concerned about that. And this one from Sephora is called Reveal the Real Skin Tint, and it is usually $22, but I managed to pick it up for 30% off during the recent Sephora sale. And this one includes dimethicone and alcohol, and it doesn't include any moisturizing ingredients. And I did try it on in the store, and I didn't find it to be irritating for my skin, and I didn't find it to be looking awful on my skin. And so I think that particularly during the times that Sephora is having a 30% off sale on the Sephora collection products, that it could be worth it for some people. And so I do want to do a more full review of this product and to demonstrate it on camera so that people can have that option if they're interested. And then Ulta also has their own foundation, and this is called Complexion Crush Medium Coverage Foundation. And this is $16, and this one does include a variety of silicones, but no cyclic silicones in it. And it includes some bentonite, which could be good or bad depending on your point of view. And it includes some glycerin. And so I would like to give that one a try. And then I have this product that I picked up for $8 or maybe even less. And this is called the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Liquid Foundation. And it has some cyclic silicones in it. And I'm not seeing any moisturizing ingredients, but it actually gets pretty good reviews. And so I think that it's possible, if people were able to tolerate it, that it could be an option, especially considering the super low price. And so now let's move on to primers. And so I will start with what I'm calling priming moisturizers. And these are products that do have some hydrating benefits to them, or even some moisturizing benefits, including having maybe a little bit of oil in them, but that they also do seem to work really well under makeup. And so they are products that I often wear during the day. And so the first one that I have is the Ilia Base Face Milk, and this is $58, and this came out last year. And I have talked about this many times on this channel because it is a product that I use very, very frequently, really on a daily basis as my day moisturizer. And I do think that this has worked really, really well under a really wide variety of different kinds of foundations and other kinds of makeup. and it has not irritated my skin at all, and I think that it even provides a good little barrier between my skin and makeup that might be irritating for it, and it also does things like prevents my blush from disappearing. So I'm a big fan of this product. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but I feel like this is a very nice product, and I actually have a couple more bottles of this that I have stocked up on during the Ilia sale because I do like it so much. And some of the ingredients that are in this include squalane, glycerin, argan oil, sodium hyaluronate, prickly pear extract, allantoin, some coconut oil derivatives, and some lactic acid. And then a product that I actually think performs fairly similarly is this Jones Road product, which is called their Oil-Free Moisturizer. And this is priced at $38. This is more like a cream and less like a milk, but in terms of how it performs on my skin, I actually think it performs quite similarly. And the ingredients are fairly similar. So this one includes squalane, glycerin, coconut oil derivatives, and niacinamide. And this seems to be one of the products on the Jones Road website that is less popular, and I think that the reason for that is because most people that buy from Jones Road tend to have more mature and dry skin, and so I think that they don't really understand why an oil-free moisturizer could be good for them, but that maybe if Jones Road repositioned this as kind of a primer, that people might like it more, because I do think this is an excellent product also. And then another product that I have liked is the Merit Great Skin Moisturizer, and this is $38. And this came out late last year, I think, and the product that it really reminds me of is the Bobbi Brown Face Base product because it is thicker and it has a lot of moisturizing ingredients in it. But nonetheless, it is a product that I can use under makeup, and I think that it works particularly well if I'm using a product like, for instance, that Tom Ford foundation that is more matte and not necessarily appropriate for my skin for that reason. And the ingredients that are in this include jojoba butter, squalane, sodium hyaluronate, coconut oil derivatives, and it includes some algae extract, but I don't feel like this one has been irritating at all. And unlike the Bobbi Brown product, this one does not include any silicones in it, and it also doesn't include any fragrance type ingredients in it. And so I have found this to be a very nice product, especially during the winter months when I want to be wearing makeup, but when my skin is feeling pretty dry. And then this is a product from Honest Beauty, and this is called the Honest Hydrogel Cream, and it is $20. And again, I think that this is quite similar to the Ilia Base Face Milk. It is in a kind of a gel form, and you have to take your fingers and scoop a little bit of it out, and so that's a little bit less convenient than having it be in a pump or having it be in a bottle like the Ilia Base Face bottle. But I do think that this provides a very nice base on my skin in terms of wearing it under a foundation or other kinds of makeup. And the ingredients in this one include squalane, sodium hyaluronate, glycerin, coconut oil derivatives, and some apple fruit extract. And this one does not have any other kinds of oil in it. And I don't feel like this one is oily, but I do feel like for my skin, it's quite a good day moisturizer. And I think that Honest Beauty is the one company that is offering products at reasonable prices, that I feel like their ingredient quality is good, and that the only time that I have reacted to their products is when they have had essential oils and other kinds of fragrances in them. So at least so far, I think that they are really sourcing excellent quality ingredients, even though their prices are pretty reasonable. And the only reason that I'm not giving this an A+ is because I really prefer not to be dipping my fingers into the jar like this, but the product itself is quite good. And then there is the Merit Great Skin Instant Glow Serum, and this is $38. So this is a liquid product, and it's a mixture of kind of a watery substance and oil, and you're supposed to shake it up, and then you pump it out on your hand, and then you kind of pat it into your face. And so it is definitely not as rich as the other product from Merit, and it is more watery than the Ilia product, but it's sort of doing the kind of the same things. And this one does include some niacinamide, sodium hyaluronate, coconut oil derivatives. And my experience with this one is that it was okay on my skin when I first got it. And then after maybe a year or so, my skin started to react to it a little bit. And this does have just a 6-month usage life on it, and so I really can't be complaining or criticizing it in terms of it not lasting for more than 6 months for me, but I do think you need to be a little bit careful about this. I don't know if it's probably that some kind of microbial contamination occurred, even though it's in this pump bottle. And in general, my feeling about this one is the reason I didn't use it up so fast is because I'm just not that crazy about putting watery substances on my face. But I think that it's not a bad product, and especially if you have skin that is not so dry as mine, then this one might be one that people would really like. And Glossier has some products that they call priming moisturizers. And I did try one in terms of the rich version, and that one is $35. And so it includes a variety of different ingredients such as squalane, lactic acid, coconut oil derivatives, some fermented ingredients, ceramides, babassu oil, and sodium hyaluronate. And my feeling about that one is that I could use that product, but I didn't feel that great about putting it on my skin, and I just had a small sample jar, and I wasn't very inclined to buy it again. And then as for that Bobbi Brown face base product, that one is quite expensive. It is $66 for a regular size jar, and that one did cause me irritation, and I think that in retrospect that is totally predictable because it includes rose geranium oil, which I am allergic to, as well as linalool, geraniol, limonene, citronellol, and grapefruit peel oil. And so that is kind of too bad because I did like the texture of that product, and I do think that that performs really well underneath makeup. And so if you are able to tolerate those scent ingredients, then I think that that could be a really nice product. But I am happy that Merit has that product that I think does have sort of the same texture, but that wasn't irritating for me. And the Bobbi Brown product has some cyclopentasiloxane, which is a cyclic silicone in it, and then some other silicones. And it also has, in terms of the moisturizers, it has shea butter, squalane, and sodium hyaluronate. And Ritual Defy has a product that they are calling a primer, and this is called Thorn Oil Facial Elixir, and it is $68. And this is an oil, and it is a red-colored oil, and I did give that a try. And I think that it could be really good for some people if they are not reacting to the rose oil that is in it. But some of the ingredients that are in it include marula oil, rosehip oil, jojoba oil, and a coconut oil derivative, and sunflower oil. And then it includes a few other ingredients in it that I think make it a little bit more hard on the skin and a little bit less greasy, including radish root extract, sweet potato extract, and maltodextrin. And I did react to that one, and I think it was because of the Bulgarian rose essential oil, and so I have sent that on to Ellen, and so we can see if she is liking it. But some people do really like that product. And then I was really skeptical about this product from Sarah Creel, and this is called Moisture Source Essence, and it is $95. And so that seemed really, really expensive to me, but then I have heard a number of people really, really liking this product. And so finally, during the recent Sephora sale, I did decide to go ahead and buy this. And this one includes squalane as the first ingredient, and then also it has some glycerin, niacinamide, sodium hyaluronate, several different kinds, and some peptides in it. And I have tried it a few times, and so far I haven't found it to be irritating, so at least that is a good start. And it seems like it's watery, but it's just a little bit more thick than I would imagine that it was, or a little bit more thick than the Merit product. And so I'm going to keep experimenting with this, but at least I seem to be able to tolerate it so far. And so now let's talk about more conventional primers. And so I will start with the primers that I have tried that do not include any silicone. And so the first one is the Jane Iredale Hydra Pure Tinted Serum that I talked about as the very first product that I discussed in this video. And I do really, really like that particular primer. And that is definitely the one that I have used the most and that I can expect to continue to use. And Beauty Counter also had a primer that I kind of liked, and this is called the Glow First Priming Serum, and this was $65, and it includes a lot of jojoba oil in it, as well as glycerin and some coconut oil derivatives. And I thought that this one was pretty nice underneath makeup, and it also looked nice on my skin on its own. So if Beauty Counter comes back, then this would be a product that I would hope that they would bring back. And Ellen's comment about this one is that I like this primer, decent blurring, not sure that I prefer it to Jane Iredale, but it is very close. And I guess I will just hold on to this bottle for a little bit longer in case Beauty Counter brings this product back. And EXA has two different primers. So the first one is called the Jumpstart Smoothing Primer, and it is $27. And so I have tried this one, and I thought that it was okay, and I have been able to use it. I don't think that it was irritating to my skin, and I think that it performed okay underneath foundations, but I also haven't really been motivated to use it because I didn't really feel confident that it was really necessary, and then later on I've just been finding that other products seem to be performing better. But this one includes glycerin and some coconut oil derivatives and some raspberry seed oil, and Ellen suggests that it has decent blurring, slight tint, not very tacky, slight smell but not offensive. And then the other primer from them is called the Splash Zone Oil-Free Hydrating Primer, and this one is $34. And I feel like I must have gotten this one for free, and I felt like maybe this was not really targeted towards my dry skin, and I actually never have tried this one. And this one, when I look at the ingredient list, it includes glycerin, niacinamide, prickly pear extract, aloe extract, sodium hyaluronate, and trehalose, and then blue spirulina extract. And I wonder, based on this ingredient list, if it actually might be a good primer for me. And so I think I need to put this into the category of products that I am going to be trying over the next month or so, and then hopefully coming back and giving a report on them. And so I guess I will keep both of those for the time being. And then in my last video, which was on Versed, I talked about the Versed Smooth Skin Face Primer, which is $17. And that one includes niacinamide, glycerin, olive oil derivative, and sodium hyaluronate. And it also includes some diamond powder and tapioca starch. And I actually kind of like that product, especially if we consider that it's not too expensive. It did not irritate my skin at all. I actually like the way that my skin looks with this on, and I thought that in the video footage I was just using concealer and this primer, and I think that the texture of my skin looked okay, and I think it works pretty well as a base for things like blush or for foundation, and so I am going to put that in the products that I am going to continue to experiment with. And then Victoria Beckham had a primer that I did try, and this was called the Victoria Beckham Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. And this was made in collaboration with Augustina Spader, and so it had some of the proprietary peptide from Augustina Spader that I have liked so much in their moisturizer. And in terms of the primer, I thought that the primer was okay for me, and I did not use up the whole bottle. And after I had had it for somewhere over a year, the products did start to irritate my skin a little bit. And so I sent that one on to Ellen, and Ellen liked it enough that she actually bought a whole bottle of her own. And then just a few months ago, Victoria Beckham got rid of that primer that's no longer on their website, and they came out with a new version, also in collaboration with Augustina Spader. And this is called the Cell Rejuvenating Illuminator, and it is $80, and it is a totally different formula. as well as being a different price point. And it is available in a couple of different shades. And the ingredients in this one include glycerin and squalane and Saccharomyces ferment and niacinamide and sodium hyaluronate and the Augustinus butter proprietary peptide and the Cisimbrium aereo seed oil, which is depuffing, and some tin oxide for sparkle, I guess. And so the main ingredients that are supposed to be beneficial look the same, but the basic formula of the product is different, and I have not purchased that yet. And I don't think I've really heard almost anyone talk about it, and so I would be interested in hearing some feedback of people who have tried it. And I think that the product that I used in the past was okay, but obviously I did not finish it up. And I think that my money is better spent just buying the Augustinus butter rich cream rather than a product like this. And then a couple of other primers that I haven't liked as much. One was the 100% Pure Luminous Primer for $45. So I don't feel like that one really did much for me either in terms of how my skin looked when I just put it on by itself or when I put makeup on over it. And the ingredients in this one include an aloe vera, jojoba oil, rice wine extract, and avocado butter. And Ellen's comment about that product was that this primer went on very wet. It does a pretty good job of blurring, scent neutral. I would not seek this out to use it. And then Jane Iredale also makes another version of that foundation. And this one is supposed to be a green primer. And so instead of the flesh-colored balls that are in the regular foundation or the regular primer, this one has little green balls. And so if you have skin that is really red, then conceivably this could act as a color corrector and make your skin look more neutral. And my experience with this is that, first of all, now that I have been so picky about the products that I'm using, I don't feel like I have an issue with my skin being red anymore. And so that part is really good. But the other thing that I find about this is that you have to be really careful to break up all these balls before you put it on your skin. Because if you're not really careful with this, then it looks like you have little green lumps on your skin, and that is really kind of weird looking. And so even though I'm able to kind of get away with using the regular primer with just putting it on with my fingers, with this one you do need to take a really stiff brush and break it up really well and make sure that it's all smooth and all green. And then I think it might be okay for people that do have reddish skin. What I also am seeing, though, is that an awfully lot of the people who have purchased this product and reviewed it on the Jane Iredale website, they have been complaining about it, and so I think that people should go into this one fairly cautiously. But I do think that this is such a high-quality product that if you don't mind using it in that way, that it could be a good product to use. So I think that pretty soon I will do that video on Jane Iredale with their new foundation, and so I'll keep this one until I do that video, and then I'll see if Ellen wants it because maybe she can get some use out of it. And then last fall, NARS came out with the Light Reflecting Hydrating Primer, and I was kind of optimistic about this based on the ingredient list and based on the fact that I have had quite a bit of success with NARS products. And this includes glycerin, squalane, trehalose, sodium hyaluronate, hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, coconut oil derivative, and some mango seed butter. It does include sodium carrageenan, that made me a little bit nervous, and some benzyl alcohol. I did not find that this was irritating to my skin, so that part was good, but I did feel like this particular product did emphasize the wrinkles on my face and make them look worse, and so that was kind of problematic for me. And so I don't see myself using this product again. I've tried using it quite a few times and I just don't think it works for me. And so I am going to pass this one along because maybe Ellen can get some use out of it. And this is a product from Well People, and it is called the Bio Brightener Priming Serum, and it is $25, and it comes in a little pump bottle. And I don't feel like I did very well with this product. I don't feel like my skin liked it all that much or that it looked that good on it. But Ellen seemed to like it better. So she says, nice primer, very light, very iridescent. If you use a heavier foundation over it, this will reduce the level of coverage, and that could be useful to know sometimes. And so some of the ingredients that are in this include broccoli seed oil, cocoa butter, aloe juice, hemp oil, and quinoa extract. And it does have oat kernel flour in it, and so I wonder if that could be one of the reasons that I am not real crazy about this. And like many of the Well People products, this one is made in China. And so since Ellen kind of liked this product, I will just send this along to her. And Burt's Bees has a product that is called Goodness Glows Primer, and it is $12, and I don't recall liking that product, and I do recall it causing irritation for me, and it does have natural fragrance in it. And I just don't think that I can tolerate the natural fragrance that Burt's Bees uses in so many of their products. But Ellen's comment about that one when I sent it to her was that it is a surprisingly nice product, goes on smoothly, light coverage, and has a nice bit of color. So that one is only $12, so that could be one to consider. And then RMS has a product that is called the Re-Evolve Primer, and that is $45. And that one includes glycerin, hyaluronic acid, squalane, olive oil, and then it includes eggplant fruit extract. And I wonder if that could be one of the ingredients that contributed to the somewhat unusual texture of that product. And for me, that was irritating to my skin, and the reason is because they are including a whole bunch of different essential oils in that, and among those is the rose geranium oil that I am irritated by, but there's a lot of other scent ingredients in this also, and so that is not a product that I was able to use. And I don't think Ellen liked that product very much either. And Ilia has a primer that is called True Skin Radiant Priming Serum, and that is $52. And I am not sure how this is a primer. What the ingredients that I see in it that look interesting to me are aloe, coconut derivative, tequila leaf extract, and glycerin. And I do have a little sample of this, and so maybe I will give it a try. But I also see that it has phenethyl alcohol and algae in it, so I don't know that this is going to be a product that's going to work for me, because the phenethyl alcohol does tend to be pretty consistently irritating for me. And I think that the ingredient list for this new primer from Laura Mercier looks pretty good. This is called the Pure Canvas Hydrating Primer, and it is $46, and it came out maybe last fall or so. And so it includes glycerin, coconut oil derivative, apple extract, squalane, sodium hyaluronate. It does include cabbage rose flower extract, but that might be better than rose oil. And I have this little sample packet, but I feel like I may have a larger sample somewhere, so I should really give this one a try. And Youthforia has this product which is called Pre-Game Daily Protective Primer, and this is $38. And I had totally forgotten that I had this, and I have never even tried it. And some of the ingredients in this look okay. So it has glycerin, coconut oil derivatives, prickly pear extract, olive leaf extract, blueberry extract. But then I see some ingredients in this that I think really are warning signs for me, including menthol, chili pepper extract, sodium salicylate, eucalyptus, and tea tree extract. So I find that to be kind of shocking that they have put all of these ingredients in this product. And so I guess I will try this, but I am kind of afraid of it, honestly, and that's why I haven't put it on since I rediscovered that I actually had it. And so now let's talk about primers that have silicones in them. And so this can be a good product to use under foundations that include silicones. And I have also used some of these under, for instance, powder foundations, such as the Bare Minerals Powder Foundation. And so the first one that I have is from Fashion Fair, and this is called the Fashion Fair Fabulous Priming Serum, and it is $39. And it includes multiple kinds of dimethicone, but not any cyclic silicones. And then it also has some glycerin, shea butter, and coconut oil. And I feel like this has been really, really nice for me, and that it has performed really easily and well, especially underneath powder foundations, and also I think it would be fine under silicone foundations. And I have not been able to use most of the Fashion Fair products because they are really only making products for darker skin tones, but this one I think is a real standout as far as I'm concerned. So I will keep this one and continue to use it. And Jane Iredale has a cyclic silicone primer that is called Smooth Affair, and this is $52, and it has quite a bit of silicone in it, and it did feel really kind of slippery on my skin, and I thought that it performed really well, but that I am not really interested in using a primer that feels that silicone-y to me, and so I did send that bottle on to Ellen, and she kind of liked it. And she says, I like this primer a lot. I put it on over moisturizer and then used my Chanel Le Beige foundation over it. So the Chanel Le Beige foundation that she had has a fragrance in it, and so I think that that is one of the reasons that she wants to use a primer like this in order to protect her skin from that fragrance, and apparently that has worked fairly well for her. And Caloray has a primer that is called So Blown, and it is available in this tiny little container for $15, and then also in a larger container for $36. And it has a number of different kinds of silicone in it in terms of the ingredients that my skin might like. It includes niacinamide, coconut oil derivative, camellia oil, and a fermented ingredient. But unfortunately, it does have a lot of scent ingredients in it, including orange oil, limonene, linalool, citronellol, citral, geraniol, farnesol, and also phenethyl alcohol. So, of course, my skin has reacted negatively to that. And I think I will keep this for a little bit longer because maybe I will do a video on Caloray. And then I should actually send it along to Ellen. And Smashbox is known for its primers, and so I tried one that was called Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer Plus Hydrating Primer, and that was $16. And that includes a number of ingredients that I thought might be good for me, but it also includes BHT, algae, and yeast, and my skin did react negatively to that. And Ellen said that that primer was very nice and goes on smoothly and minimizes pores. So apparently she was able to tolerate that one. And then this product from Tatcha, this is called the Liquid Silk Canvas, and it is $54 for a full-size bottle, but I just have this little mini bottle. And my feeling about this one is that it might be a nice product. It felt to me more like the Jane Iredale product, that it definitely has a lot of silicone in this one. But in general, I don't do well with the Tatcha products, and I really, really wanted to because they're made in Japan. But I have found that most of them do include natural fragrance in them, and that I do react to the fragrance ingredients that are in here. So Tatcha is just not a good brand for me, it seems, but I think that Ellen seems like she likes this one. And her report about the sample that she has is that it was a very nice primer, good blurring, seems to even skin tone a bit, minimal smell. And so I will go ahead and pass this on to her. And then I have this little sample of the silk primer that is in the solid form. And so I'll just go ahead and pass that one on as well because that has very similar ingredients. And now I'll talk about setting sprays, and I will say that until maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I never found any setting sprays that worked for me at all because all of them either irritated my skin because they included things like fragrance or alcohol in them, or because they seemed to not do anything and not be even worth bothering with. But that all changed last year because there were a couple of new products that were introduced to the market, and both of these have worked really, really well for me. And I do use them in particular over makeup that is like the Makeup by Mario foundation or the Jones Road What the foundation, or the one that I like the most, which is the Patrick Ta foundation, that do not really set down and that stay sticky, but if I put a little bit of setting spray over the top of them, then I feel like they still give me the attractive look and they're still good for my skin, but that they do have a much better finish and don't have that stickiness going on. And so the first one that I have is the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Setting Spray, and this one is $34. And the first ingredient in this one is PVP, which is a classic setting spray ingredient. And then it also has niacinamide, vitamin C, caffeine, glycerin, hyaluronic acid, ceramides, and blueberry extract. And there's no scent and there's no alcohol. And I do feel like this has performed really, really well in terms of setting those foundations that really need to be set, but without detracting at all from the look of them. So if I put powder down, then that does detract a bit from that moisturized type of look, whereas this one actually will make it a little bit more set, but have it still look fairly dewy looking. And I feel like this particular product from NARS performs fairly similarly. So this is called the Light Reflecting Setting Mist, and this is priced at $36. And the ingredient list for this one is actually quite different, so I'm not seeing the PVP in this one, and instead I see glycerin, spirulina, purslane, which is used in the Barbara Sturm products as an anti-inflammatory type of ingredient, and cacao peptides and moringa seed, and some other botanical ingredients. And I feel like this one may not perform quite as well for me as the Makeup by Mario one, but I do really like it quite a lot, and so I think that I can also recommend this one, and that this is one that I will continue to use on occasion myself. And then another product that I tried out very recently when I did my video on affordable makeup is this one from LYS, and this is called Skin Loyalty Setting Spray, and it is $25, and it includes glycerin, green tea extract, aloe, and cucumber extract. So I don't feel like this one is performing quite as well as the Makeup by Mario one or the NARS one, but I think it's one that does help a little bit in terms of setting the makeup, and so I don't know that I will personally be using this one, but at least it's one that I think that I could use. The pump on this one has been a little bit annoying, though. It sometimes seems to be working really well and sometimes seems to not be working very well at all, and so that can be frustrating, and I haven't figured out how to fix that yet. And so I will just hang on to that for a while and keep playing with it. And Calorie has a product that is called Surf Proof Setting Spray, and that one is $42. And that one does include PVP in it, as well as glycerin and niacinamide. And that one unfortunately includes some fragrance ingredients that I cannot tolerate, including unspecified natural fragrance, limonene, coumarin, and linalool. And Ilia has a product that is called Blue Light Mist, and that is available for $18 and $38. And pentylene glycol is the first ingredient, and it also includes aloe, some coconut oil derivatives. And my feeling about that one is that I didn't really feel like it did much for my makeup, and it also includes some phenyl alcohol, and that is why I found it to be slightly irritating. And this one, I don't really know if it's helping to protect against blue light. I think that's an interesting concept. I wonder what other products I could be using that would protect just as well against blue light, but that wouldn't be irritating my skin. But in general, that one did not work for me, and I passed that one on a long time ago. Lisa Eldridge has a product that is called the Skin and Makeup Mist for $42, and I did find that when I sprayed that directly onto my skin, it was irritating, and so I kind of lost interest in using it. It's possible that it might be a little bit better if I sprayed it on top of makeup, but in general, I try not to use products that I don't like to use directly on my skin on top of makeup. And some of the ingredients in that one include aloe juice and glycerin and seaweed extract, so that might be why that was irritating for me, because of contamination conceivably, and lactic acid and niacinamide. And Well People has a product that they are calling Do Your Makeup Mist, and it is $15, and that one did irritate my skin. And I am not quite sure why they are saying that this is going to be a good setting mist. I don't see any ingredients in this that look like it would be a good setting mist. But some of the ingredients that it has in it are arginine, aloe, witch hazel, willow bark extract, raspberry seed oil, and snow mushroom extract. So I kind of feel like that is actually a skincare product for people that have oilier skin, and I'm not sure that spraying it on top of the makeup would be all that helpful, so I'm a little perplexed by that product. And then next I have a bunch of products that I would just talk about really briefly, and these are all products that have either sunscreen boosters in them, which are unregulated chemical sunscreens, or in one or two cases an actual chemical sunscreen that has been approved. And these are all products that have irritated my skin, and so I don't see any reason to keep those around because they are ones that I have decided not to cover on my channel at all. And so one of these was the Beekman 1802 Milk Primer, and this is SPF 30 and it is $25, and I sent that along to Ellen quite a long time ago because it did irritate my skin. And then we have the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint, and this is SPF 40, and it comes in this dropper bottle, and this is $48, and this one includes butylloctyl salicylate, and I did find this one to be irritating, and this is one of the products that was the most confusing to me because I thought that it was a mineral sunscreen, and because it was supposed to be clean beauty, and nonetheless it did not work for me at all, and so I am very happy to be sending this along and not having to look at it anymore. And then this is a product that is from Kosas, and this is called BB Burst, and it was released last year, and it's $38, and it's supposed to be a tinted moisturizer, and it doesn't mention anything at all about sun protection on the product, and so apparently they didn't want to go to the trouble of having it tested and for what the SPF should be, and so they just didn't bring it up at all, even though it seems to me clear from the bottle in terms of the colors that they used that they are trying to imply that this is a summertime product, so they're using the yellows and the blues in it. And this is one of the products that really made me realize how problematic butylloctyl salicylate is. So this product has zinc as the first ingredient after water, and then it also has butylloctyl salicylate in the first several ingredients. And this one did irritate my skin and the way that other sunscreens do, and this is the one that caused me to really look into the butylloctyl salicylate and to realize what a problem this is. And so I'm just going to send this along, and maybe Ellen can get some use out of it if she is not reacting to it. And then the Kosas Revealer Foundation, that is SPF 25, and it is $42, and it does include some zinc oxide in it, but it also includes a sunscreen booster called ethyl ferulate, and this again is a chemical sunscreen that is not regulated, and it also has some phenyl alcohol in it, and so I definitely am reactive to both of those ingredients. And so I did actually like the feeling of the Kosas Revealer Foundation, and I kind of liked the way it looked on my skin when I had fewer options available to me, and I did use it a bit. I always had to use it over a primer, and so now I think there are many other really good options that I think are better than that foundation in general, and so I wouldn't be really inclined to use it anyway, but I think that realizing that it has a chemical sunscreen in it, that was really important for me. And Ellen said about this product, I first tried this over a primer, and it did not go on as well as when I put it on over bare skin. The product has an odor. I don't love it or hate it, but it is noticeable. It does a good job smoothing my skin and minimizing pores. And I think that the odor would be that phenyl alcohol, which has a rose scent to it. And then Milk Makeup has a primer that is called the Hydro Grip Primer, and it is $36. And on the Milk Makeup website, it lists an ingredient that is called benzophenone 4, which is an approved chemical sunscreen. And that ingredient actually was not listed on the Sephora website, but I think that that explains one of the reasons that my skin did not like that primer at all. And so I did pass that on to Ellen quite a long time ago. And then last year, one of the most popular foundations to come out on the market was called the Prada Reveal Foundation, and this is $70, I think. And so I at first didn't think that I was going to be interested in that at all because it did include a sunscreen in it, and it also included unspecified fragrance. But the more that I heard people talk about it, the more I thought that I should at least give it a try, just to make sure, because I had never tried the particular sunscreen that is included in that foundation, and because people kept telling me that the fragrance in the foundation was so mild that they couldn't even smell it. And so I purchased this refill of the product. I decided not to spring for the full bottle of it, and I gave it a try, and my skin turned into a huge mess, and it took me a couple weeks to recover from it. And so that was definitely a mistake, and I am again persuaded that chemical sunscreens in general are just bad for me and that I should really avoid those. And I don't think the fragrance probably helped either. And so I don't know if Ellen will be able to tolerate this, but I will just go ahead and send this on to her because it is quite a nice foundation. It did look nice on my skin. And so if she can wear it, then that would be a nice thing. But for me, this was kind of a disaster. And the chemical sunscreen that is in this one is called Insulazole, and I had actually never heard of that sunscreen before, but it doesn't seem like my skin likes that one any better than any of the other sunscreens that I've ever tried. And I will say that it took 1 or 2 uses of that product before my skin started to react to it quite so strongly. So the first time I tried it, I actually thought that it might be okay, and it wasn't until the second or third usage that my skin really, really did not like it. And then I also have this product, which is called Tower 28 Sunny Days SPF 30, and this is $30. And this one has butyl salicylate in it, and I did spend quite a bit of time wondering why, if this was a mineral sunscreen, that my skin was reacting to it so badly. And I think it's a little bit strange for Tower 28 to be offering this particular product because they are supposed to be a really clean product company that is supposed to be helping people with like eczema. And I think that based on things that I have heard, quite a few people do react to this BOS or butyl salicylate that is in this product. And so I think that they might be able to do better in terms of what they're offering. And so what Ellen said about the Tower 28 product is that it is similar to Beauty Counter's Dew Skin Tinted Moisturizer, goes on evenly with a bit of coverage, maybe a tad bit lighter coverage than Beauty Counter. So it sounds to me like she might be able to tolerate that product, and so I will send it along to her. And then this product is from Well People, and this is called BioTint SPF 30, and it is $30. And Well People is a brand that has been purchased by e.l.f. Fairly recently, I think. And this product is made in China, and so that is why it is relatively inexpensive. But it's supposed to be a clean beauty brand. And nonetheless, this does include butyl salicylate in it, and I was not able to tolerate this product. And what Ellen said about this product is that this product definitely smells like zinc, and it is very sticky. If I put it directly on my skin without a primer, it tingles a bit. When I put it on over a primer, it feels better, and it seems like a decent compromise between the risks and benefits of using a cosmetic with SPF. So my suspicion when she says that this tingles a bit, that she's probably reacting to the BOS also, and that it might be actually better for her to avoid it, but if she's going to use it over a primer, then she may be able to make it work for her. So I will just send it along. And so as I was going through all of those foundations, I did find a couple of other products that were discontinued that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. So one product is the Kosas Tinted Face Oil, and this one is pretty dried up, and it's not supposed to have a very long usage life. But unfortunately, they are not making this one anymore because I did really like it, and I'd probably be tempted to buy a new bottle if it were still on the market, but it does seem to be gone. And I have this product from Tom Ford, which was called the Traceless Foundation Stick, and I wasn't that crazy about this product. Some people did really like this one. I much prefer the Bobbi Brown Foundation Stick, but in any case, Tom Ford has discontinued this product, and a lot of people were unhappy about that. And I found this foundation stick from Vapor, and this is called Luminous Foundation. And so Vapor is no longer in business, very sadly. I still miss them fairly regularly. And so I don't really see any reason for me to keep this around, though. I thought that it was an okay foundation stick, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite, even when Vapor was operating. And so I'll just go ahead and send this one on to Ellen to see if she wants it. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And if you have any foundations that you have especially liked or that have been noteworthy for you, then I hope you will let me know that in the comments section. Or if there are foundations that you would like to see me review, either ones that I brought up in this video or ones that I didn't bring up, then I hope you will let me know that. In addition, if you're interested in joining the Facebook group, then I hope you will go ahead and do that, and I will put the link in the comments section. And again, the name of the group is going to be, at least temporarily, 40 Plus Beauty with Lisa Petrison. And in addition, I hope you will subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already, and I hope you will hit like if you haven't hit that already, and if you did like the video. And finally, Coco and I do love you very much, and so I hope that things are going well for you. Bye-bye. La